Welcome to the first Get Ready, Get Set Workforce Readiness Conference for high school students. I am Alexis Lee, an instructional specialist here in Montgomery County Public Schools. We are really excited to have this event today. And so we're going to get started very shortly with some opening remarks from our Director of Student Wellbeing and Achievement, Dr. Karen Cruz. But before we get her opening remarks, just wanted to welcome all of our viewers who are on streaming and joining us through the YouTube channel, MCPS TV, as well as for our students and parents who are joining us this morning. I would also like to thank our Associate Superintendent, Rochelle Rubin, for supporting us and the Student and Family Services and Wellbeing Unit. And so without further ado, we will go ahead and have our opening remarks from Dr. Karen Cruz.
Hello, my name is Dr. Karen Cruz, and I am the Director of Student Wellbeing and Achievement here in Montgomery County Public Schools. I bring you greetings today. We are so pleased to have you join our Get Ready, Get Set Workforce Readiness Conference. Research tells us that many graduates are really not sure how to get employed. We know that the critical aspects of landing a job is being prepared. This event is designed to provide you with essential information to help you prepare for entering the workforce. It is important that you possess the skills, knowledge, and preparation needed to successfully transition into having a career. As you participate in the workshops and visit the virtual booths today, I want you to think about three things. Number one, your passion. What do you love to do? Knowing what you are passionate about is important in identifying the right job or career. Number two, how are you building your resume? Think about the opportunities that you have that provide you with work experience. All of those opportunities that are around you. For example, internships, courses, and student service learning opportunities. Being able to have these experiences will help employers envision you as a candidate for employment. And thirdly, have you talked with your teachers, counselors, and college and career information coordinators about your post-secondary aspirations? These are all people in your school that can provide resources and information to help you take the necessary steps towards reaching your goals. I leave you with these thoughts. Please take full advantage of all that we have to offer you today, and I hope you have a wonderful experience and enjoy the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. So before we get to our next guest speaker for this morning, that's going to set the tone and foundation for how we got here, I just want to give a little bit of a background. So COVID has really affected a lot of our students, both graduates and our current students, in ways that we could not have possibly imagined. And as Dr. Cruz has said, it's really important that we now provide opportunities for students to be able to have, as part of their post-secondary plans, that they have a job to go to when they graduate, and that they have those skill sets. And so what COVID has done is that it put us in a really tricky kind of predicament, in the sense that our students were not able to, secure employment during COVID because of shutdowns. But as things have slowly and increasingly opened, our jobs are now becoming back. And so with this, and for today, our point and purpose of this event is to provide our students, both current seniors as well as underclassmen, with the opportunity to be able to connect with our industry partners and our higher educational partners, so that when they graduate, that they have a next step in their post-secondary lives. So the way that this event is going to go, we're going to engage in a number of learning sessions, and we're also going to have a virtual fair at the end for our students to participate in. One of our lead partners in this work is Worksource Montgomery. And so in just a moment, I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Maren Poole of Worksource Montgomery, and she will talk with you about how you get connected with Worksource.
So good morning. Good morning, class, MCPS class of 2021, 2022, 2023. I want to welcome the parents, counselors, and administrators also who have worked so hard to get everyone here today. And with graduation around the corner, that is a huge step forward. And as Ms. Lee was saying, it's been quite a year. So all of you, class of 2021, 2022, and 2023, have been impacted. But you've come out strong and you have traversed a challenging year, but towards success. And now you're around the corner from graduation. My God, it's a month away. And what can I say? I'm sure it's exciting times. And it takes me back to my graduating year, which was not so long ago. So it is my pleasure and privilege to be here today with you and to speak about the topic at hand, which is worksource development. So what is worksource development? It is the beginning stages of career development. It is the gaining of skills. It is, and that's the basics of what we need to lead a productive life, to acquire employment, to provide for ourselves, and positively contribute to society. So big words maybe, big thoughts maybe, but all so important as you sit today and a month from today as you take this path forward. Workforce development truly is a foundational driver of economic development, and it is a fundamental, very importantly so, to achieving self-reliance and a prosperous future. And I think most of us want to be in that space at the soonest that we can. So what does workforce development rest on? It rests on skill building. And these skills can be acquired in any field that you so choose, and it is interest-based, and the career choices are yours, but you always also want to be aware and do your research to make sure that you're fulfilling the labor market requirements, or you've done your analysis and sort of poured over the information. As Dr. Cruz said, it is important that you look at your passion, which is your interest, as you decide what you want to lead with in your workforce development or career development. And then I'll speak to you a little about the other things she spoke about, which was resume building and speaking with your counselors that play such a huge role and can assist in those in the formation of how you want to think ahead. So as Ms. Lee said, I represent Worksource Montgomery today, and I manage the Young Adult Opportunity Program, or the Youth Program. So what does the Youth Program mean, or what does it have in it? So I manage ages between 16 and 24 years of age. But importantly, I also, through the program, sort of want to make sure that we service the out-of-school youth. And I bring that point up because that would mean the class of 2021 specifically, because they will be out of school very shortly, and I hope that they will knock at my door on June 18th, since June 17th is your close of year. So what is the program? What is this program? What is the Young Adult Opportunity Program? What is the Youth Program? It is a program that is set up to make sure that we connect job seekers to employers. And Montgomery County takes a lot of pride in making sure that our young talent is positioned well to be able to satisfy the demands of the local economy, which is employers, businesses, companies that want to make sure that you have a place in their businesses and through skill development. So how do we work? Who do I have in my team? Let's go over that. So my team consists of career advisors. It consists of trainers who are education specialists, and I have business service account managers. So what do we all do? once you are part of our program, and let me step back, how do you become part of our program? You have to be a Montgomery County resident, which you are. You have to be out of school. So the graduates of class of 2021, I speak to you specifically. And you just need to be looking at some skill development, and you need to be thinking of what interest or what passion you have for what industry. Now, to talk about career advisors, what do they do? So once you come into our program, and there are eligibility assessments, which I will describe a little later, but once you join our program, our career advisors will be your go-to person. They're the ones that will navigate you through the entire program. They're the ones you will speak to at first, and they will make sure they know what your specific interest and career choice is and point you in that direction. And they're your daily, your daily contact for any help you might need through the program as you've enrolled with us. So once you're in the program, you meet our trainers. So what do our trainers do? Their role is to make sure that there is soft skill development. And what does soft skill development mean? And as Dr. Cruz referred to, resume building, which is so important because you are going to be in that mix with a lot of competition when you are in the job market. It is a little different. It is the real world, right? So we want to make sure that your soft skills are in place. And soft skills are things like resume building, which is what we will do. Mock interview skills, so important. Financial literacy overview, again, something important as we move forward at any stage of life. And then we've added a new thing, which is application filling. Everything is applications at this point. You start with an employer, they want the online application to be filled first. And it's not always the easiest thing. So that is what we are there for as the first step when you join our program, soft skill development. The next, again, is based on your interest, and that would be an external training, the hard skill development part of it. So say if you had an interest in healthcare, we would consider healthcare positions and trainings for you. And all this is at no charge whatsoever because this is a program that the state, the county, and the federal government runs to make sure we offer every opportunity for success that you can have. So the external training, as I was saying, healthcare, there are healthcare trainings. If you're looking at IT, there are IT trainings, which is so popular. This being Montgomery County, a lot of technology services are needed. In fact, to give you a quick example, we just, in January we had a collaborative Biotech bootcamp, very successful indeed. It was run collaboratively with Montgomery County, Montgomery College, Worksource Montgomery, UMBC, and the biotech companies in the area. And we had 3 of our youth, it was a small program, but 3 of our youth actually post bootcamp got to be hired by these bioscience companies. So a huge win. Imagine coming right out of school, being part of this external training, being part of bootcamp, and finding a place in a biotech firm. Well, and I'm sure these names are very familiar to you. So after that, what happens is after you've done your external training, we go and make sure that you're ready for employment. And you've got your resume in place now, you've identified your interest and career choice, and now you're ready for our account manager, our business services team, to make sure that you're presented to employers and do an employment of your choice. And we work with about, I would say, at least 200 to 300 companies in the area, in the DMV area. And wherever you go, because you're with us, you become a priority candidate. So as long as you are responsive and you have facilitated this for yourself in terms of making sure that the training part is done well, which is the internal and the external, we will make sure you have the employment of your choice at the earliest that it can possibly happen. So that is how we work. And the here's a quick snapshot of the industries we provide access to. And these are industries that are sort of defined by interest, your interest, and also by the labor market analysis. So not a surprise, healthcare, IT, biosciences, and you see the list right there. And this is just a beginning. We serve many other things. And on top of this, we do have what we call work-based learning. So we work to make sure that if your interest is in, through apprenticeships in trade or vocational, a vocational interest, we will make sure we follow through with that. So this is our commitment to you. And moving forward, what we want to talk about is what you can do. What is that opportunity timeline for you to sort of move this entire piece ahead? So we are the facilitators. Worksource Montgomery, the youth program, the young adult opportunity program, and the team is there to facilitate you in the best manner possible. We are committed, but you are the driver. You are the driver of this entire piece to move forward, which means that we want you to be responsive to us. We want to make sure that the documentation that we need, and I'll go into that in a quick minute, you have that ready. It's not something that we're waiting on for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And the training timeline. So how long will it take you to actually get a job? That's a question we get asked very often. Well, that depends on, how soon your responses are to us, how soon the documents come to us, and also what your training timeline might be. So if you're doing customer service training, for example, and hospitality, et cetera, that's a short course. A week, you're done with that training, we start presenting you. Now, if you're doing IT training, which could be, the popular course of A+, Network+, Cloud Computing, those take a little longer. So you're going to finish that. And there is a qualifying exam after that. So you get licensed because that's a national accreditation. So not just here, you can take that certificate, that license to any state in the country and be eligible for employment. That's a huge thing. So your timeline is based on how quickly that training is finished, how quickly the exam is taken, and you have your certification. And then, of course, we are going to start presenting you for interviews. And how do we do these interviews? We have a fantastic technology platform. We have interviews that are virtual. So all you got to do is get on your device and click on Zoom. And we have the employers come literally at least once or twice a week. And this week, we have 4 different companies coming in. Very exciting, all ranging from IT to healthcare to security to administrative work. So these are the opportunities we present constantly. Your part is to make sure that you be there, that you're responsive to your career advisor, and that you be there to show up and to have the presence of mind to interview correctly with them. So what are some things that we need to pay attention to? Sometimes in getting that job in the employment, transportation plays a huge role. So you want to be sure that you have good access to it. If you have a provisional license, you want to go ahead and make sure you have the next step ready for you, which is, making sure that your documents towards that are ready. And the willingness to post-interview to accept the position with the employer. I know that may sound simple, like why wouldn't you do it? But sometimes a hiccup can happen and you decide this is not what you want to do. So we want to be sure that you have sort of taken that thought process prior. And we are there at every step to help you with that. So I talked about documentation. Let me sort of go briefly into that. What are the documents that we need? And this has actually been provided to you in the digital brochure that MCPS has. I believe they're going to send it to you at the end of this conference. So do pay attention to that. It has a list of good opportunities as well. So the documents we need, one is that you need to be a U.S. Citizen. You need to be a Montgomery County resident. You need to have proof of education, which is your diploma, your high school diploma. And then you need to have a social security number. Again, these are things that are program requirements. but also your employer requirements. So I would suggest that you get a file ready with all these documents in it, collect them from your parents or from your school, let your counselors help you, but you should be in control of this, because these documents are next steps as much as everything else we're doing, which is trainings, internships, apprenticeships that we will want you to work with us for. So we've talked about the timeline, and then let's go into what our pathway to success is. So class of 2021, I'm speaking to you especially because you're graduating, and don't forget we work with out of school young adults. So if you're planning college, the 4-year or the 2-year track, then we are not the partnership you want to have right away. We are there for you after, but we work with you, and we do not compete with colleges or associate business schools. So what are the next steps for success for you? That depends on your passion, your interest. And again, like Dr. Cruz said, speak to your counselors. They are your resources. I'm sure you've been doing so already, but speak to them. We have, so this is a partnership that Worksource Montgomery has with MCPS. And this partnership, as Ms. Lee mentioned, came about in the time of the pandemic, when we were thinking about our students, and we were thinking about, the 4-year college track that had all of a sudden didn't seem as accessible as it was before, or the 2-year program. A lot of the students did take a gap year. So we said, okay, so what can we do? What can we provide as another approach to assist? And that's how this partnership came about, that Worksource Montgomery can step in and make sure that we can provide the employment for the students for the class of 2020 that they would need. And after that, you want to consider what vocational training you might need. Like I mentioned, we do a host of trainings in IT, healthcare, apprenticeship fields of construction. We work with retail, of course. We work with hospitality, which is now coming back. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And then you want to be sure that you have your documents ready. And I do want to emphasize that is very important to have, because sometimes that becomes the lag of getting that interview versus having to wait another week, 2 or more. So essentially, that is the pathway to success with Worksource Montgomery. And I encourage you to take advantage of the program. It is a gem of a program. All it requires is your interest and our trainings and employment opportunities for you. So I am going to be in a panel, and I'm also going to be at the virtual booth. If there are any questions, that is the time you want to talk to me about it. Besides that, in the digital brochure, there is more information and contact information. So take advantage of that. And I will be waiting for you. And I want to conclude by saying congratulations, of course, and by the words that have always guided me and brought this partnership to fruition, which is dream it and do it. Just knowing about something is not enough. You have to apply yourself to it. Class of 2021, I'm waiting for you June 18th. I'll be expecting that call from you. Thank you. Alexis, it's back to you.
Thank you, Mirren from Worksource Montgomery. And so, as I had mentioned, and what you've been hearing this morning, is that, we really want to provide additional supports and services to our high school students as they are thinking about their post-secondary life, and also giving them that next stepping stone upon their graduation. In addition to the aforementioned thanks and appreciation that was given earlier with our Associate Superintendent and Dr. Karen Cruz, we would also like to add our thanks to the College and Career Readiness and District-Wide Programs Office, also our College and Career Information Coordinators, and each of our high schools has a College and Career Information Coordinator. They worked they work very closely, and they are an integral part of the counseling departments at our high schools. And we also like to thank all of our school counselors who have also continued to promote college and career readiness throughout the school system and to all of our students by hosting a number of events. So always stay tuned for the things that happen at each of the schools. So as we also kind of get ready to move forward, I'm going to just frame what we're going to be doing today and what your experiences will be. Over the course of the day, we will engage our students and our attendees who are joining us through the MCPS TV YouTube channel and a series of learning experiences. And as we go through those different learning experiences, we will have a break at about 11:50. We're going to take about a 10-minute break so you kind of stretch. And then those attendees who are joining us, our high school students who have joined us here in the actual Zoom, they will have a chance to engage in questions in a Q&A session for the morning learning sessions. When we return at 12 o'clock, then our attendees will have the opportunity to self-select one of three or four one of four events that are happening during that time. So we do have a host of workshops. The workshop that will be live streamed on YouTube will be College is Possible. And then the others will be shared, and the presentation slides will be available online at a later date. After the midday learning sessions, then we will have our guest speaker from Maryland Apprenticeship Programs, Ms. Gina Marie Best. And after Ms. Best presents and is our guest speaker, we will move into our Connecting the Dots panel discussion. At the end of the panel discussion, we will conclude our live stream on YouTube, MCPS TV, and our students and attendees will be able to transition to the open fair, in which they will be able to interact with and ask questions of our industry partners and higher ed partners by going through an assortment of virtual booths. All right, so with that said, and as we move forward, let's go ahead and get this started. So we are now going to enter into our first learning session of today. And this is really going to hopefully set the tone and the pace for the rest of the day. Maximizing your strengths to seize opportunities. It is really important that as we go through life, we are constantly evolving. We're trying to figure out who we are, what we're doing, what we're good at, what we're not so good at. And so we're going to spend some time this morning just trying to identify what some of these strengths are and allow everyone to kind of like reflect on where have you been? Because the person that you were in elementary school is very different than the person that you were in middle school. And you have evolved into this young adult that is now getting ready to enter into the workforce. And even once you get past high school and you enter into early adulthood, you're going to, again, continue to evolve and you're going to grow and develop. And this is a never-ending process. So who are you as you kind of do a self-reflection? What do you do well? What is your vision for the future? What are your strengths? In Montgomery County Public Schools, beginning at the secondary level, all of our students engage in activities and lessons delivered by their school counselors in the Naviance platform. And so within that, usually in the middle school section or in the scope of sequence of lessons, our students are completing assigned tasks, and one of them is called the Strength Explorer. So for you all who are with us today, you all have already done this. But again, this was back in middle school. So it's possible that the strengths that you identified then may have changed a little bit, may have changed a lot as you went into high school and as you have moved forward. So as you think about what it is that you do well, perhaps you are really good with your hands and you're what we call kinesthetic or tactile. And so you like to build things, you like to cook, you like to Just engage in things like with your hands. Maybe you like to socialize. Maybe you're a social media person and like you want to be a YouTuber, or you're into technology because you're really good with, creating events and interacting with others. Maybe you like to be behind the scenes and you like to do coding or other kinds of independent activities. When you think about the question of who are you, that's a question that is consistently asked over and over and over again, because who you are is really shaped by your experiences, and it's also shaped by the desires and the aspirations that you have. So what is the vision for your future or for the future? When you graduate from Montgomery County Public Schools, you're in this conference and because you want to enter into the workforce or take advantage of different internship and apprenticeship opportunities. You want to have a career. You want to be able to be self-sufficient, become possibly a homeowner, own a vehicle, and just do all the things that typical adults normally do. So as you think about what is your future, you're going to also think, okay, how do I take what it is that I do well, and how do I shape that into what my vision is of the future? And then, so what you do well, that's tied to what your strengths are. And a lot of times it's really difficult as individuals for us to really think about, when someone asks the question, what are you good at? Tell me about yourself. We're not comfortable talking about the things that we do well, what our strengths are. And so this is an opportunity, and what you're going to engage in some activities this morning on how to highlight what those positive traits are for you. So let's start with a definition of strengths. Strengths are tasks or actions you can do well. These include knowledge, proficiencies, skills, and talents. People use their traits and abilities to complete work, relate to others, and achieve goals. In any workforce, and also in any situation, including in the classes that you all are taking, you are always looking to and leaning on what your strengths are. So whether you're mathematically or scientifically inclined, or you enjoy writing, you enjoy history, maybe a world language, all of those subject areas that you are taking play to your strengths. I know sometimes people will say, well, what is the opposite of strengths? And the opposite would be weaknesses. I tend to shy away from the term weakness and would much prefer that we adopt the idea and the concept of areas that we can grow and improve in. So when you think about your strengths, are you artistic? Are you athletic? Maybe you may not have been on one of the varsity sports teams, but you like to stay physically fit. Or maybe you have really strong coaching skills, maybe a really great listening skills. And so with your friends, what do your friends tell you? What do your teachers tell you? So as you are reflecting on who you are, we're going to be throughout the day wanting you to tap into your strengths. Strengths are different from personal traits and characteristics. So your character includes your moral attributes or qualities. And when we talk about morals, we're, think about how do you discern from right and wrong, what's good or bad. Your character also includes the ability to identify your character when we have others who have observed them for some time. So there's always these snap judgments that we make nowadays where people are like, oh, I don't like this person, or this is based on how they look or how they dress or how they talk. But that's a very snap judgment, and that does not speak to your character. Your character is really what you do on a consistent basis. Your character refers to the moral and ethical conduct of yourself. So whatever values that have been instilled in you shape and define your character. Your culture defines your character. And important and overall behavior patterns of a person also define your character. In terms of personality, that's more of a tricky area. But it's a collection of cognitive abilities, behaviors, beliefs, ideologies, and attitudes. And so your personality is what people also get exposed to. Some people say, oh, they have such a bubbly personality, or they're very shy, or they may say they're very outgoing. Personalities may be easy to identify by observing the physical conduct. So it's the things that you're doing, how you move, how you present yourself. So as we move into some future learning sessions this morning, can I think about, I remember my mom telling me about posture and how you have to present yourself when you walk and when you sit and when you speak. Personality refers to an outward behaviors and an impression that's created on others. As much as we don't like it, the truth is that we are constantly being measured and evaluated and judged by others. And it's being done for different reasons. So when you get a chance today to meet with our industry partners, and they're going to be able to get a first impression of you based on the personality that you present to them. And then when you graduate from high school, or for our underclassmen who have joined us today, when you are applying for a job for maybe the summer, or if you are employed right now, that personality is what people are interacting with. When we think about the 4 personality types, my friends and colleagues oftentimes will say that I am a type A kind of person. So I'm goal-oriented, I'm a risk taker, I'm good under pressure, and then which is good. But sometimes I may end up being a type B, the socializer, but that's more in my personal life and with my family and with my friends. But a type B personality type, they're more relationship-oriented, they're outgoing, and they're enthusiastic. Your type C is the thinker, very detail-oriented, logical, and prepared. And then type D, the supporter, task-oriented, stabilizing, and cautious. Your type X is a combination of 2 or more personality types when they are equal. So we don't necessarily always have to have a particular set in stone kind of defined personality type. We can be a combination of these. And this is very similar to Gardner's multiple intelligences. And so we are, inclined to be able to have certain skills. We're really good and we have adept skills in certain areas. Again, we may be very kinesthetic and tactile. We may be very artistic. We may be very analytical. So what it is that our strengths are, what our personality and character traits are, what our personality types are, all are going to help us as we enter into and navigate the workforce. But what does that look like? Different faces in different spaces. We all present ourselves very differently depending on who we are around. When we're home, we're more relaxed, and so our families get to see us more natural, and this looks very different than when we're in the workspace or when we're in school. At home, you may kick off your shoes, you may walk around in a t-shirt and some shorts and just kind of hang out and snack all day or hang out with your friends. But then when we're in school, we're looking at being studious and being focused. And so we present ourselves a different way because there are different expectations in the school setting. Our principals and administrators, our counselors, our CCICs, and our teachers and other school staff, they all have expectations for how we should present ourselves and how we should navigate the school space. When we're with our friends, it's kind of like being at home because we can just kind of kick back and relax. But for some of us, we put on one face for our friends, and then we have another face for another set of friends because we want to be accepted. Within our neighborhood, it may mean that we have to navigate that space. For some, being in a neighborhood that may have certain challenges means that you have to present a tough exterior, whereas in other neighborhoods where there are less challenges, then you may be able to relax a little bit. But how you are in your neighborhood with your neighbors, are you, socializing with them? Or are you kind of a quiet neighbor and keep to yourself? But how you present yourself in your neighborhood is another way that we present ourselves to the world. In the workspace, we are very focused, We want to make sure that we're doing our jobs and that we do our jobs well. We're very professional, and you're going to hear that word a lot, being professional and what professionalism is. So in the workspace, well, again, it's a different look than when we're at school or in our neighborhood and home with friends. When we're by ourselves, that's when we can really, truly be ourselves, because you may have the door closed, you're in your room and you're just kind of dancing to the craziest song that you've ever heard. And people may not see that in other spaces because you might be a little bit more shy and reserved, or you could be very outgoing. But when you're by yourself, you have that quiet time to just think and just reflect on everything that's happening around you. Now let's talk about the online different phase. As you're getting ready to enter into the workforce, it is extremely important that you be mindful of your online persona. There have been a lot of situations where individuals across age groups who have been presented with a number of opportunities to experience a lot of different success. We've had throughout the country, there have been scholarship athletes who have had their scholarships revoked or rescinded because of their online behaviors. Social media is one of those places where people feel like that they can hide behind their anonymity, but they take pictures and they may post things. They may retweet or quote others. And when you're going into the professional world, where you're going into the workforce, you have to be really mindful of what it is that you're posting online, what it is that you are reposting online, how you present yourself, because what you do online becomes your social credit. And people will judge you based on how you present yourself, and they may make false assumptions. But if that's all they have to go on, then you want to make sure that it is the most positive light for yourself. So be very, very careful about your online behaviors. And as you enter into the workforce, if you have any social media accounts with, or even email accounts, it's fine to do that, but create one that you would want to have employers to be able to access. Make sure that your emails, and you're going to learn about this later, that it's not a nickname, or some, other kind of identity that you would use maybe for your Instagram or your Snap or for your Facebook, but you want something that is going to be positively representative of you. And then so as you move through and you prepare for entering into the workforce, if you do have anything posted online that could raise any questions about your character, about your personality, about the type of person that you are, then you would want to go through and kind of, clean up your online persona. What others think of you, opinions, believe it or not, they can matter. It just depends on what is being said, who is being said by, when it's being said, and why. So as you get a lot of feedback, as students, you've received a lot of feedback from your teachers. You've received feedback from your parents and community members. You've received feedback from your parents and guardians. And what people say to us, what they say about us, does affect us, because that's just the human nature. But what you have to kind of do is engage in kind of like a clearinghouse activity of sorts. You want to keep the positive. So when anyone is giving you some positive feedback, when you did well, that was a great essay, you did an excellent job on that project, thank you so much for helping me, you're so helpful. You want to keep those positives. When they give you constructive feedback, which oftentimes gets kind of muddled with criticism, you have to, again, separate the positive or the constructive pieces from the negative. So the constructive feedback, maybe you've done a really good job with that. However, I think the next time we should consider, or you should consider, doing X, Y, or Z. Think about that English paper that you've written. And when your teacher writes on it and they give you the feedback or they put a comment there, and you're just kind of like, I don't get it. This feels so bad. I can't believe the teacher hates me. No, really look at the comments. Hey, you may have forgotten some punctuation here. Or it would have been, I really like the idea that you presented. I would like for you to expand on that more. So that's constructive feedback. That's constructive criticism that you can grow from because they're giving you a suggestion as to how to improve. And then you will work to improve that. Discard the negative. There are people out here who will want to hold you down, who will want to prevent you from moving forward. Some people you know, some people you don't know. And so as you are receiving all this feedback, these opinions, and you're filtering out what is positive and what is constructive, then all the negative things to say, you're not good enough, this is not for you, I don't know, you're not going to go anywhere, those kind of negative statements, you want to discard those, throw those away, because they're not going to lead you to anything or get you anywhere. So what's going to happen today? Well, opportunity, this is the first time. Opportunity awaits you today. You are engaging in an opportunity to learn about the different programs and industry partners that we have through the Workforce Readiness Conference. So the possibilities are endless for you today. The learning sessions that you're going to engage in are going to give you a wealth of information and are going to help you as you move towards the fair this afternoon. So as we kind of tie all of these things together, there is an acronym, SWOT. And so you can see in the graphic that you divide this into 4 quadrants: your strengths, and as I said before, the term that I'm not a big fan of, but weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The strengths and weaknesses are a part of your self-awareness. This is where you're, again, doing that constant reflection and evaluation to say what it is that you do well, what are the things that you would want to improve on. And when you have those opportunities to interview, you want to highlight your strengths. But I can tell you, as having been in a position to interview candidates for positions and vacancies I've had as a school counselor, it's really important. Like I do ask, and a lot of employers ask, well, what is one thing that you may want to improve on or that you can grow in? So you want to have that balance of the strengths and weaknesses or areas to improve in. What opportunities are arising or present? Are any of them right for me? And what do I do? So those opportunities, like when an opportunity presents itself, you have to, again, think, does this really play to my strengths? Is there room for me to grow based on what I have assessed as an area that I can grow in and I can learn? Is this a good opportunity? Is this local? Will it take me away from my family? Is it the right time of day? Is it the right program? Those are all questions that you have to think about when you're thinking about these opportunities that are presenting themselves. And then you also want to ask yourself and assess, what is the threat or the harm in me seeking out this opportunity? Is the threat of now I won't have as much time to hang out with my friends or to, watch Netflix and Amazon, is that really the threat? Because if that's something I can do later, then I really need to seek the opportunity. Or maybe the threat or harm in you seeking it out may be that you have some self-doubt. And if you do have some self-doubt, then you have to go back to what is it? What are the positive feedback what is the positive feedback I've received? What are the constructive criticism, constructive feedback I've received? And then that will hopefully diminish what your perceived threats or harm are in terms of seeking out that opportunity. So what's next? When opportunity knocks, you SWOT. You assess your strengths and weaknesses, you look at the opportunities and the threats. And if the opportunity is right for you and opportunity knocks, then you open the door. Today is that doorway. There are a number of opportunities that are going to knock for you today. as well as in the coming weeks as you approach graduation and afterwards. For those who are underclassmen, opportunities are knocking all of the time as well. So you have to sometimes go seek out those opportunities because they're not just going to come to you. So you're going to have to do some groundwork. And so with that said, we're going to get ready to transition. And I'm going to now turn this over to Ms. Daisy Faria, our College and Career Information Coordinator in Montgomery County Public Schools.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Lee, for all that very useful information. My name is Daisy Faria. I am the College and Career Coordinator at Gaithersburg High School. And actually, before I worked at MCPS, I worked as a job coach for many years, working at a nonprofit in Montgomery County. So I helped a lot of individuals get their first jobs and help them get started as they enter the workforce. So I'm sorry, Alexis, if you can give me sharing abilities. It says I do not have that, that I can share my presentation with you.
Sorry about that, you are set.
All right, thank you. All right, so today I will be talking to you about a very important part of the application process, which is professional writing. So I will be talking to you guys about how some tips and tricks on how to write a resume, cover letter, and professional email, which are all super important when you're looking for your job. So what is professional writing and why is it important? So professional writing is a style of writing that is clear, concise, and seeks to convey information and ideas quickly in a professional setting. So why is this important? So as you prepare to enter the workforce, it is important to be professional in your communication. This type of writing is expected when you're applying for a job, when giving presentations at work, and when communicating with colleagues via email, just to name a few situations. So sometimes I like to think of what's the opposite. So what are some unprofessional ways of writing or some mistakes? So that could be, when you're communicating via email, through your resume, or just, some things you want to avoid is incorrect spelling, grammar issues, text speak. I know a lot of us are so used to sending text messages to our friends or communicating through social media. So you want to try and avoid abbreviating words and, just speak in a little bit more of a formal tone. Also watch your tone. So if you're communicating with your supervisor or manager, if you're applying for a job, you want to make sure the way you communicate is not coming off as rude or aggressive or just giving off a bad vibe, because many times that's your first impression that you're giving to a future employer. So let's talk about resume writing. So what is a resume? A resume is a summary of who you are on paper. So it is a document that shows a prospective employer a summary of what your educational background is, work experience, and skills and qualifications. So why do you need a resume? Most employers will ask for a copy of your resume when you are applying for a job. They use a resume as a screening tool to select which candidates to interview and which to rule out. So as you guys are searching for jobs online through Indeed.com or whatever other search engine you're using, you may see that many of the jobs will require you to upload a copy of your resume. And so this is what they are asking for. They're looking for a summary of who you are. So what are some things you want to include in your resume? You want to make sure you include your contact information. This is super important. Employers want to know what's the best way to reach you. So your contact information nowadays, it will include your cell phone number, and you want to make sure your cell phone number is one that that is in service and that is the best way to reach you. So, many students sometimes put down their home number or, maybe their parents' phone number, but the employer wants to contact you. So make sure you're putting down a phone number where they can best reach you. and an email address. So it's super important to include your email address because many times employers may communicate to you about scheduling a time for an interview through an email. So you want to make sure you get in the habit of checking your email. And if you don't already have a personal email address, make sure you create one that is, again, professional. So a professional email can include, an abbreviation of your name, your first and last name. Sometimes your first and last name is taken, so you want to make sure it's something that employers can identify you with. And it's not some type of like nickname or, something that's just not professional. Other things you want to include on your resume is your educational background. So many of you might not have tons of work experience, but as you're leaving high school, you may have taken some classes that are aligned to the jobs that you're looking for. If you've taken any tech courses or career preparation courses through Edison or Gaithersburg or Seneca Valley, those are really great things to put on your resumes to show the employer that you are coming into this workplace with some, foundational skills, some experience working in that field. You want to include as well any work experience. So that can be babysitting, that can be part-time jobs, summer camp jobs. Any experience that you've had in the work field is important to put, especially as you are entering the workforce and you don't have tons of experience. You want to put in all that you have, as well as volunteer activities. So many of you guys have completed volunteer activities to complete your SSL hours. Include that information. That looks great, that shows that you are involved and that you've done things outside of your school and have participated in your community. And you want to list all of your skills and skills that are related to the job you're applying for. One really important skill that employers love to see is language skills. So if you speak more than one language, put that on your resume. That looks great. I mean, we live in a county that is so diverse, and highlighting your language skills is super important and makes you super attractive to employers. So here are some do's and don'ts for resumes. So make sure your resume is concise, neat, organized, and no more than 1 to 2 pages long. Employers really only spend about 30 seconds reviewing your resume, so you don't want to make it too wordy or too difficult for them to really find the information that they're looking for. You want to have some white space, so you don't want to fill up to the brim with text. You want it to be concise and organized. And of course, you want to proofread your resume, make sure there are no grammar or spelling errors. Again, you want to include your contact information. So make sure you include your full name, cell phone number, and an email address because employers need to know how to best contact you. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity for an interview because you forgot to put down your cell phone number or you maybe misspelled your email address. So make sure you're proofreading everything. So the don'ts of resumes. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want your descriptions for each job to be like paragraph length. You want it to be nice and short bullet points. Very important. You don't want to lie on your resume. You want to make sure you're being honest when you're listing your skills and your past experiences, especially with jobs. Those are things that they can verify. So if you've said you worked at Chick-fil-A for 2 years, but you've only been there for 6 months, that is something that they can contact your previous employer and verify. So you want to be honest on your resume. And this is just like a quick tip as well, is you want to send, when you're uploading your resume, try to save it as a PDF, not as a Word doc or a Google Doc. PDFs are much easier for people to open, and it also keeps your formatting. So sometimes when you save it as a Word doc and you email it, your recipient might open it and the format's a little off, but saving it as a PDF will avoid those issues. So try and save it as a PDF. And again, just make sure your contact information is professional, especially your email address. So here are some just examples of resumes. So you can see how they are neatly organized. They have all of their information listed on the left-hand side. Everything is in order. There's not too many indents going in and out. Everything is lined neatly. And on the right-hand side, you can see all of the dates for each job. So that's important. They want to see how long you lasted at some jobs or how many years of experience you have. So these aren't the most current examples, but one thing I do want to point out is when you are listing your jobs and work experience, extracurricular, all of that, you want to list all of your information in reverse chronological order. So what that means is you want to put the most recent experience at the top and then go backwards. So let's say you're currently working at a job right now. So you will put the month and year that you started that job, -present. So that will be at the very top of your work experience. And then any jobs you've had prior to your current job, you want to list below. Because employers want to see your most recent work at the top. You also want to list your education. So if you're graduating this year, you can put graduated June of 2021. You can list under education your GPA if it's something that is, if you have a very good GPA. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to include it. Don't include any information that's not going to highlight you in the best way. So, and if you won any awards or honors at school, list all of that information, and any skills. So you can see at the bottom, this person does. On the example to the left, you can see this person has included that they speak both English and Spanish, and they are CPR certified. So all of these things are really helpful for an employer to know. Again, just on the right side, you see kind of the same type of information, just kind of in different order. But again, very neatly organized. Nothing is longer than one sentence. No bullet points are longer than one sentence. And all the information is clear. And their contact information you can see at the very top. So you usually want to put your name nice and bold and large on the very top of your resume so they know exactly who they're whose resume they're looking at when they're reviewing your resume. And what's great is there's some resume templates that you can use. If you're using Google Docs, they have resume templates as well as Word. So there's great tools out there if you're not sure where to start. But these are pretty simple. You can create them and organize them using Microsoft Word or Google Docs. But again, once you finalize your resume, you want to try and save it as a PDF before you send it out. And also know that your resume is a living document, meaning you can constantly update it. So if you're going to do something over the summer, if you have an internship or a job, you can come back and update your resume and continue to update it as you grow in your professional careers. So next are cover letters. So what is a cover letter? So a cover letter is a document that you want to attach along with your resume when you're applying for a job. So this letter provides in more detail what qualifications and skills you have that make you the best candidate for the job. So things you want to include in your cover letter. So your cover letter should include, again, a header with your contact information, a nice, friendly greeting, and in the body of your cover letter, you want to include the position you are applying for, the company name, and some more details on how you were qualified for the job. So these are things you can, maybe do some research on the company, find out what the job entails, and you can kind of relay your experience that you've had or your interests that you have to the job that you're applying for. You want to provide some follow-up information. You want to kind of have like an action in your cover letter. You want to ask them, I look forward to meeting with you or having an interview, provide your contact information, and always have a closing. So this is like, an old school letter. You want to have a greeting, a body, and a closing. And so this is not always required when you're applying for a job, but it's definitely highly encouraged because it shows the employer that you've gone the extra step and provided them with a nice cover letter to go along with your resume. So some do's and don'ts. So for a cover letter, you do want to mention what you can offer and bring to the company. So you don't want to just have, of course, this job could be, have benefits for you, but what are you going to offer and bring to the company? I highly encourage you when you're applying for a job to always do research about the company beforehand. So you can include some details about the company in your letter, and that really shows them that you're really interested in the job. Nowadays, every company has a website, so you can always just Google the company, read their mission statement, read about the company history, and just show them how you are really interested in working with them. And always, of course, proofread your cover letters. So don'ts. You don't want to repeat everything that's already on your resume. Employers don't want to read the same information twice. So instead, use this cover letter as a chance for you to highlight some experience, go into more detail. Like I said, your resume was just like short bullet points, but maybe you want to talk about an experience or an achievement or an award that you were given at an employer, at school, that can kind of relates to the job that you're applying for. And don't make it all about you. So again, you want to mention what you can bring to the job, not just what the job can do for you. And here are some cover letter examples. So you can see their contact information is at the top with their email address, phone number, your address if you'd want to include that. And then you want to get into the body of the email. So you can see the dear hiring manager, but if you don't know the hiring manager's name, sometimes you don't have that information when you're searching online or Indeed. And you can simply write dear hiring manager. That's fine. Sometimes that information isn't available. But you can see how they've started the letter with introducing themselves and how what position they are applying for, and how they learned about the position. So that's really important too. So if you, let's say, have a friend or somebody who is recommending you for this position, the cover letter can be where you explain, I learned about this position from so-and-so who works at the company. So that's always great. Employers like to get recommendations. So that's, this is a chance for you to write that. And then you can write, again, what experience you have, what makes you a great fit for this position. And, just at the very bottom, you can see the closing statement or the follow-up action, how they would like to hear from them. They want the opportunity to discuss this position in more detail. And then they have all of your contact information, and you always want to sign it and have a closing statement as sincerely your full name. So this is just a few examples on how to write a cover letter. And there's so many great examples online as well. This is just where I found it. Just try and get in it. If you don't know where to start, you need a template, please do some searches online. All right, next is professional emails. So emails are one of the most widely used form of communication currently in and out of the workplace. So a professional email provides the recipient with, again, a clear, concise, and friendly message. Especially now in this virtual world, emails are so important. And so, this is probably how your employer is going to contact you. So make sure you are not only checking your emails frequently, but responding to them in a timely manner. So you don't want to let an email or an opportunity sit in your inbox and then you don't check it until a few days later or a week later. That job opportunity you may have missed that job opportunity by waiting too long. So please stay on top of your emails and just get in the habit of checking them more often. So some tips for writing a professional email is to consider your audience. So when you're writing your email, make sure your tone matches your audience. So, writing an email to a family member or a friend may be a lot different from when you're sending an email to a potential manager or prospective employer. So you want to be more formal in your tone. You don't want to, come off again as, too friendly or too casual or even rude. You want to make sure your tone is matching who you're contacting. Use proper etiquette. So always include a friendly and polite greeting in closing, and keep it concise. As with all of your professional communications, try not to be overly wordy. Try to keep it brief without leaving out any important information. Again, everyone's attention span nowadays is really short, so you really don't want to write, an essay-long email. You want to be brief, but also not leave out any important information. Okay, so this is an example I found on Indeed.com for a professional email, an example of a professional email. So one, really important, you always want to include a subject line. You never want to send an email blank because, employers get so many emails, and if they don't see a good, a subject line, they might not even open it. So make sure you include a subject line that is straight to the point to what what your goal is here. Two, you want to include a salutation. So I see this a lot when students are emailing me. They don't even really introduce themselves or have a salutation. They just go straight to the point and write text. But you want to get in the habit of at least saying hi to them, having a greeting in the beginning. And then having a body of your email. So, this is just a very common example. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out today because you're getting straight to the point. You're telling them why you're contacting them. And then, having the closing, please let me know if you're interested. Please let me know if you have any questions. Those are all very common closing statements. And again, having a signature. You want to sign off on the email with a nice and friendly closing signature. All right. So I might have gone through that a little quickly, but here are just some of the sources I found. So a lot of the information I found on Indeed.com, as well as other career websites. So thank you. I guess we have some time for questions if anyone has questions. So Ms. Lee.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Faria. We're now going to welcome Ms. Ashley Malik, another College and Career Information Coordinator, who will be presenting on professionalism and interview skills and dressing for success.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Lee. All right, good morning. My name is Ms. Malik. I am the College and Career Information Coordinator at Thomas Edison High School of Technology. A little bit later on, you will be able to join a breakout room from our counselor, Ms. West, more about Thomas Edison High School. I strongly encourage you join her breakout room. The application process, professional interview skills, and dress for success. So interviewing, what is the purpose to interview? From the perspective of the interview, it is to filter out all the possible candidates and to find the best fit for the job. Your job is to show that you are a fit for this job and the company that you are applying for. Know the job. Read every single word in the job description, including company overview. The company overview is basically the background information about the company, understanding what they do, who the management team is, and who the business serves. Job summary. Basically, a job summary is the description of the job and the duties that are required for that job. Responsibilities. What are your responsibilities going to be for that job? To know the knowledge and skills and abilities required. Make note of what you have and what you don't have. So make a list, do's, don'ts, write them down. See what you have and see what you don't have. How could you get the missing skills, experience, etc.? Interviewing basics. Always arrive 15 minutes early, if not even earlier. Know the exact time and location of the interview, how long it takes to get there with traffic, where you should park, etc. You should do a dry run. A dry run is basically a run through or a rehearsal of procedures before the real one. So go, if your job is on Rockville Pike over by the courthouse, go do that run before your interview. Find out where parking is. Do you have to pay for parking? Make sure you have cash if you do. Find where the building is located. Over by the courthouses in Rockville, it can be pretty confusing. Park your car, get out, walk around. You do not want to be late for your interview. Dress appropriately. We're going to go over that a little bit later on. Treat everyone you encounter with courtesy and respect. Eye contact, good posture, a firm handshake, and a smile with a friendly greeting. For example, good morning, Miss Smith. My name is Miss Malik. It is so very nice to meet you. Use good grammar and good diction. Say yes, not yeah. For example, it's more formal for a job interview to say yes, not yeah. They're not your friend. So, yes, what can I do for you? Not, yeah, what can I do for you? Don't fill pauses with or ah. When thinking, just pause. Silence is golden. Do not punctuate sentences with you know, like, see, or okay. Before and during the interview, prepare to be relevant during your interview. So stay on task. Try not to get off task. How does your experience apply to what is required for this job? Could it be some classes you took in high school? Maybe some place you volunteered. For example, talk about any work, volunteer, personal, and/or classroom experience. Learn everything you can about the organization. Google it. Google is your best friend when wanting to learn about the organization you're applying for. Impress them with your research and preparation skills. So go Google the job that you're applying for. Look for keywords on their webpage. Use those keywords that you find on the webpage in your interview. It will impress them. Determine how you will enjoy working at this company. Make sure it's the company that best fits your needs and your wants. You don't want to apply for a job that if you're going to school during the day and have to work till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it probably won't fit for your schedule. Research your interviewers, LinkedIn, Google, background, job history, etc. Usually when you get an email saying that they would like to interview you for the job, there's usually a name who's going to be in the interview. Look them up, see what they like, see what their dislikes might be. Demonstrate how and why you will be a great employee there. Some interviewing tips. Be prepared to give answers that showcase what the company could gain by hiring you. Don't oversell yourself, though. They need to sell you a little bit too. Don't treat the interview casually as if it's just stopping around or doing the interview for practice. Make sure you seem interested. Don't make excuses. Take responsibility for your decisions and your actions. For example, Johnny, I see from your last job that you were let go because you were late many times. Yes, Ms. Smith, I was late multiple times for my last job, but I learned my lesson and I'm ready to do better for my next job. Don't make negative comments about previous companies, managers, or et cetera. You don't know the relationship who's interviewing you. You don't know the relationship with your previous manager. Don't give the impression you are only interested in money. Don't act as though you would take any job or you are desperate. Don't chew gum or smell like smoke. Don't take a phone call during an interview. If you carry a cell phone, turn it off during the interview, not vibrate off. So either turn your cell phone completely off, or what I like to do, I like to leave my cell phone in my car. Relax, deep breaths. It's just a conversation. Smile and be friendly and genuine, even if it's on the phone or through a computer. Be careful on making jokes. You never know what the interviewer's thoughts might be, meaning they might take offense to some of your jokes. Take time to think. When in doubt, ask clarifying questions. So if you're unsure of what the question is they are asking you, ask. It's okay to ask. And be realistic. After the interview, email a thank you note immediately to everyone you interviewed with. So sometimes it might be one, sometimes it might be two, sometimes it might be 7 people interviewing you. Make sure you email everybody that interviewed you. Be specific but brief. Include insights from the interview and relevant details from your background. If you don't have the contact info, ask for it to be forwarded to you on to the right person. So for example, if you got an email for an IT position and the email was from the secretary and not from the person that interviewed you, email the secretary and ask for your thank you email to be forwarded on to the people that interviewed you. So on this slide, I created a thank you email. This is an example. I have the subject line of the message, which would say, thank you. I applied for the assistant manager at Gold's Gym. Dear Ms. Jenkins, I enjoyed speaking with you today about the assistant manager position at Gold's Gym. The job seems to be an excellent match for my skills and interest. The creative approach to assistant manager that you described confirmed my desire to work with you. In addition to my enthusiasm, I will bring to the position strong communication and people skills. I appreciate the time you took to interview me. I am very interested in working for you and look forward to hearing from you regarding this position. Sincerely, I put my name there, my email address, and my phone number. I kept it short, I kept it brief, but I kept it to the point. This shows that you are extremely interested in their position. Now we're going to move on to dress for success. Remember, first impressions are crucial. First impression is everything. So remember that. You are marketing a product, and that product is yourself. Dress is the first thing an employee sees when greeting you. So whatever you have on, they're going to be looking. Will dressing appropriately get you the job? No, but it will give you a competitive edge and provide a positive first impression. And remember, first impression is everything. So here I have an example of do's and don'ts. So for my ladies, do. She has a pretty blouse on, some slacks, some heels, not too high, and she brought her wallet in and left her purse. Don't. She looks like she has a t-shirt on, some blue jeans, some sneakers, and a purse. For my guys out there, do. He has some slacks on, a sweater, a tie, some dress shoes. The other gentleman has a hat on, a white t-shirt, jeans, and shoes. Tips for dressing professionally. Make sure you have well-groomed hairstyle, clean and trimmed fingernails. You do not want to go in there with dirty fingernails. Minimal cologne or perfume. Some people are allergic, so try and keep it to a very, very soft scent. No visible body piercings. Now, this obviously could change if you're applying for a job at a tattoo shop, but try and keep body piercings to a conservative level. Ear piercings for women are okay. Well-brushed teeth and fresh breath. Nobody wants to interview somebody that has stinky breath. No gum, candy, or other objects in your mouth. Minimal jewelry. Keep it simple. And no body odor. Try and shower and use some deodorant before you go on your interview. All right, dress for success for women. Wear neutral colors. So black, white, beige, gray. You don't need to wear anything bright. Blazer, sweater, and skirt or pants. Dark colors with a light colored blouse. Nothing low cut. Keep it all conservative. Dress khaki slacks and a long sleeve button down shirt. Now, if you're gonna wear a dress or a skirt, keep it below the knee and never shorter than above the knee. Shoes, flats are good, or low-heeled 2 to 3 inch and closed toe. No employer wants to see you come in with 5-inch heels. Avoid wearing tight clothing. Makeup should be minimal. Go for the natural look. Lipstick and nail polish in conservative tones. So if you're gonna wear lipstick, keep it to a neutral color. You don't need to wear red lipstick. And for your nail polish, try and stay away from the blue and green colors. Keep it neutral. If you have visible tattoos, try and cover them with long sleeve and pants. Remove any facial piercings and keep earrings to a small size. I know us ladies like to wear those big chunky earrings sometimes, but try and keep them small when you go into an interview. For my men, wear neutral colors, dress in khaki slacks, white long sleeve button-down shirt, a sweater, or a collared polo. If you have any visible tattoos, try to cover them up with long sleeve and pants. Tie is optional. You do not have to wear a tie for an interview. Now, again, though, that could change for the job that you are applying for or interviewing for. So if you're interviewing for a law firm, I suggest you probably put on a tie. Dress shoes, dark colored belt. Facial hair should be neatly trimmed. So maybe make an appointment with your barber to get it cleaned up before going into your interview. Remove any facial piercings, and if you men have any earrings, keep them to a small size. You don't need to go in with big diamonds in your ears. Here are some resources that I have provided for you. Dress for Success, A Wider Circle, Interfaith, and the Arc of Montgomery County Urban Thrift is there to help you if you have a hard time affording an outfit for an interview. Now, you would have to do your research because some of these are by appointment. However, they are there to assist you in either giving you a free outfit for your interview or an outfit at a discounted price. Another wonderful resource is Worksource Montgomery. This is a great resource before going into your interview. They give you interviewing prep. So for example, career development, job prep skills, so they help you with resume writing, interview coaching, and mock interviews. Mock interview is not a real interview. So it's like you'll go into an interview, but it's not real. And then there's also parent workshops for the parents. Thank you. Please reach out to your Montgomery County Public School College and Career Information Coordinator with any questions you may have. So every high school in Montgomery County has a College and Career Information Coordinator. If you need assistance in applying for a job, looking for a job, helping tweak your resume, job coaching, reach out to your College and Career Coordinator. We are here to help you. Or you can contact me. My email address is listed below. Again, I am the College and Career Coordinator at Thomas Edison High School of Technology. I have the floor open now if you have any questions for me. All right, great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to turn this back over to Miss Alexis Lee.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Malik and Ms. Faria. And so I hope that you all have gained a lot of information while, preparing for your post-secondary, plans and everything after graduation, as well as for the underclassmen who are either applying to the Thomas Edison programs or those programs at Seneca Valley or Gaithersburg High School. Or if you're a junior currently and you're looking for, planning on applying for different apprenticeships or externships. So we are a little bit ahead of schedule. So I want to take this opportunity to just kind of also share, I want to go ahead and share some information with you all for those who are attending the Zoom. So we were able to, what we have here is just our Get Ready, Get Set Workforce Readiness Conference for high school students. This is the digital brochure, and it was emailed out via Eventbrite to all who have registered. We will work to make this link available later on in the next couple of weeks with our YouTube. But if you do need a copy of this brochure, then you can feel free to email me at alexis.r.lee@mcpsmd.net. In this brochure, we have a wealth of information. So I'm just going to kind of just do a quick overview of this for you. For the conference overview, and here just gives a little bit of a background. Again, as we had mentioned earlier at the start of the conference, that our workforce, our labor force, has really been impacted, not just by COVID, but there's also been some additional labor trends. And so this Workforce Readiness Conference, as co-sponsored by Montgomery County Public Schools, Montgomery College, and Worksource Montgomery, that is happening today. It's focused on our high school seniors who are considering and are planning to enter a trades program or workforce upon graduation. And it also provides opportunities for sophomores and juniors who are either applying to or currently enrolled in a career pathway program to attend the conference. And so I know that we do have some parents here with us, so we definitely appreciate this, your attendance, because you too will be able to assist your student with those post-secondary plans and getting access to, and just kind of reminding them, because as parents, our kids tend to forget things and they don't follow through. So they still need that, that hand-holding a little bit as we help them to progress on to the next stage of their living. Some key statistics, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported back in October 2019 that the labor force participation was much higher for recent high school grads and not enrolled in college. And so as we thought about that and the fact that Montgomery County Public Schools has a number of vocational training programs, career pathway programs, and there are a lot of different access routes. And so as our students and our parents consider when they discuss with their students what it is that you want to do when you graduate, where do you want to be? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go into the workforce? Do you want to take advantage of apprenticeship opportunities? Are you interested in a trade? Then they can make appointments with their counselors and with their college and career information coordinators at their high schools so that they can start helping you on those pathways. It's never too late to do this. We especially encourage that these exploration and these meetings begin to take place when you are in your ninth grade year. But there are career exploration opportunities that happen, again, at the elementary and middle school levels to expose students so they are able to engage in career readiness and college fairs and career exploration programs. So you can see that the statistics here that high school seniors and fifth-year graduates with interest in pursuing career-oriented post-secondary plans are participating in our conference today. So again, we just want to say thank you to our partners, and we do have a host of industry partners that we are also working with. Also in the brochure, there was information about preparing for the conference, so we won't need to necessarily review that. But we're hoping that as you attend today's conference, that you are able to, and this is a reminder that at 12 o'clock, attendees who are here in the Zoom with us will be able to self-select which breakout sessions they would like to attend. We do have workshops that are happening from the 12 to 12:30. And then after 12:30, we will have a guest speaker, Mr. Gina Marie Best from Maryland Apprenticeship Programs. And then following Ms. Best's presentation, we will then have a panel discussion. And then once the panel discussion concludes at 1:30, our students and attendees will be able to navigate across the different virtual booths to be able to meet with industry partners. Also at the end of the conference, for those who are joining us in the Zoom, we would like for you to complete an evaluation so that we could get feedback. This is the first conference that we have done like this for Montgomery County Public Schools, and we would like to provide future conferences so that we can, again, be able to have our students really map out those post-secondary plans. When we get into the breakout rooms, this is really, really important for those, especially in the Zoom, that you just want to only use these few buttons. And so we will review this, but again, this is in the conference brochure. And so I'm just going to skip through to the end, where we do have hyperlinks to the various presentations for today so that students, you will be able to, and parents, you will be able to access these so that you can use them as reference for later on. And we also have the connections with our different organization and industry contacts for today. So we have, again, Worksource Montgomery, Montgomery College, the universities at Shady Grove, Capital Technical University, Congressional Golf Management, Greater Washington Partnership CoLab, IEC Chesapeake Electrical, Lincoln Technical Institute, Maryland State Police, the Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics, Trans-Ed Academy for Working Students, or TAWS, which is also a program that is partnered with MCPS. And then when in the digital brochure, if you were to click on any of these, there are hyperlinks directly to those websites. So again, we are a bit ahead of schedule. And so we will like to open up for those of us who are in the Zoom. If you have any questions or reflections off of based on this morning's learning sessions, feel free to place them into the chat. All right, so thank you. We have a question. Is there a deadline for applying for the Thomas Edison programs? So I would like to pivot to one of our CCICs because they do assist students often with that.
So hi, yes, so I'm the College and Career Information Coordinator at Thomas Edison High School. Yes, there is a deadline. I'm sure Ms. West will go over all that information on how to apply if you join the breakout room a little later. But yes, there is a deadline. It opens up in November. It's off of lottery though. So it's picked randomly, but you can find the information on the Thomas Edison webpage. I think there's a tab that says like apply now. You go to apply now, you scroll down a little bit, there's a big red button and you hit apply. It's a Google form. You fill out the Google form. But again, that will not open until November. So if you apply for this November, it'll be for the following school year. I hope I answered that question.
Thank you, Ms. Malik. All right. If there aren't any additional questions, we are going to take a break and then we will be back at right about just before noon. So around about 11:58-ish or so, but we will be back. So we're going to take a quick break. Thank you all for joining us. Those who are in the Zoom, please stay with us and we will see you all soon.
Here are a couple of pedestrian safety reminders.
Be predictable.
Follow the rules of the road and obey signals and signs.
Be visible.
Wear bright clothing and reflective materials. Use a flashlight if it's dark.
And most importantly,
Be safe. Be seen.
Our counselors just help us with schedules, right?
There's a lot more to it than that.
For colleges. So yes, the more activities you participate.
MCPS school counselors help in a wide variety of ways. They provide academic support, promote social emotional well-being, and help with planning for life after high school. They also speak a variety of languages to meet the needs of all students. Via email, phone, text message, or video conference. Counselors work with parents as well.
I would be happy to set up a parent-teacher meeting
to ensure they're partners in their child's education. Always here for students and families. MCPS school counselors.
All in.
Todos unidos.
Cho tất cả.
For all students.
Lo hulno tamarios.
Para todos los estudiantes.
Here are a couple of pedestrian safety reminders.
Never assume drivers see you.
Make eye contact as they approach.
Watch for cars.
Not just on the road, but pulling out of driveways and parking lots too.
And most importantly, be safe. Be seen.
Connolly, and welcome again to our MCPS video series, Waymaking. Our goal is to help families make their way through many of the emotional challenges we are faced with today. I have with me today two guests who are school counselors and help to support them in MCPS. First, we have Ms. Lindsay Cow, who is the coordinator for school counseling, and Ms. Alexis Lee, who is an instructional specialist for school counseling. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, absolutely. So my first question for Lindsay, can you share what is the role of a school counselor? How do they support students in school and virtually?
Sure. The role of the school counselor is to provide direct supports to students through individual and small non-therapeutic supports, as well as classroom guidance lessons. These supports address the needs in the areas of academic, social, emotional, and life after high school planning. In a virtual setting, counselors have provided all but small group counseling due to our inability to guarantee confidentiality. In services via Zoom, Google Voice, and other communication apps, Talking Points and Remind, for example, schools have scheduled office hours for students, and parents and students may make appointments with their counselor either by email or online. This does vary based on the school.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, that really provides some good information about what the counselor does in school. So my next question is for Alexis. Can you tell us, what distinguishes a counselor from other staff members that support students in MCPS?
Absolutely. So counselors are integral members of the school mental health team. And so we essentially are the frontline workers of the school. And so we use the tiered approach. We collaborate with other school mental health team members to identify the most appropriate and intensive supports and interventions that a student and their family may benefit from. And also, as mentioned earlier, counselors provide individual and small group counseling supports, as well as deliver classroom guidance lessons, whereas the other school mental health team members and other staff do not.
Okay, thank you. So then my next question is, how can students and families get support from their counselor?
To get support, students and families can email or call their counselor. Many counselors offer open office hours for students, and appointments are available for both students and their parents.
And in addition to that, school counselors are great first contacts for crisis response resources, whether it's for mental health or social services during the school day. anytime or outside of the school day for mental health, families and students can also contact the Montgomery County Crisis Center at 240-777-4000, or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255. We also encourage parents and students to also visit your child's school counseling website for more information and resources.
Thank you. Thank you for those resources and those phone numbers. So my next question is, do you have any suggestions or feedback for families and students to help them to stay resilient during this time?
So I guess the first thing I would suggest is just to understand that what you're feeling is normal, because people do tend to experience anxiety and fear and another range of emotions during times of crisis. And so understand that you're not alone in that, and that you do take time to kind of process those feelings in a very healthy way. And then once you're able to do that, then even for myself as a parent, then you'll want to just kind of see how the rest of your family is doing, checking in with them, and then that will help you to kind of figure out which direction you want to go in. And so again, one of the first people that you will want to contact would be your school counselor, because they have a wealth of resources that can help you and your family navigate these very difficult times.
I agree, and find what works for you. And as Alexis mentioned, that might be talking to your counselor and getting some ideas, but find a coping mechanism that maybe, works for you as an individual or as a family. I know right now it's a little bit tougher because it's a little bit cold outside, but try to find some time maybe to get some movement in, whether it's walking or getting up from your computer, finding things to do as a family. Maybe you're watching a movie together or you're playing a game. But figure out what works for you all, because it is important to find things that's unique to you. What may work for you might be something that may not work for somebody else.
No, thank you for that. And so I want to thank you, Lindsay and Alexis, for your time to be with us today. And we want to thank our viewers for joining us for Waymaking. To send us additional questions and topics to discuss on the show, please visit the link on your screen. Also, please go to our YouTube playlist to find additional shows in our series. And please join us next time on MCPS Waymaking.
I just want to mention that there are academies at several different high schools. I currently go to Thomas Edison, shout out Thomas Edison. I'm in my second year of the Health Professions program. So there are programs at Thomas Edison, at Paint Branch, at Seneca Valley, various programs that will help you get prepared for a career in the medical field, and also earn various certifications. Like as of right now, I have CPR and my certified medical assistant certification. So just wanted to touch on that.
I just wanted to add on to what Taylor said. There's also, so I currently go to Gaithersburg High School, and we have a biomedical program at our school, which allows students to get that training beforehand. Like Dr. Izquierdo said, knowledge is power. It's something that's always going to be useful. And we also have the CNA program, which allows for students to get certified as nurses.
MCPS Athletic Nation, let's return to play in a healthy and safe way.
I have the power to raise.
I have the power to raise.
I have the power to raise.
Wear a mask or face covering.
Wash your hands before and after practice and games. Bring a towel and hand sanitizer to use on the field.
Practice physical distancing, especially on the sidelines and in dugouts.
Bring a water bottle with your name on it and an extra gallon of water.
Stay home if you're feeling sick or been exposed to someone feeling sick.
Be considerate of your teammates off the field too. Limit interactions with others outside of your immediate household.
Together we will raise.
As we return to play.
In a healthy and safe way.
Let's go.
Welcome back to the Get Ready, Get Set Workforce Readiness Conference for high school students in Montgomery County Public Schools. We are going to now engage in our midday learning sessions. And so I'm going to open up the breakout rooms for those who are attending in the Zoom so that they can join theirs. So what you can do is just self-select at the bottom of your screen. You should see something that says breakout rooms. And then you can just click on whichever topic that you would like. And let's see if sharing my screen will assist with this. Nope, that's not the one that we wanted. Okay, so at the bottom, you will be able to see a button that says breakout rooms. And you can go ahead and you can self-select by clicking on the topic. You can click on join, and you will be able to join the different presentations that are available. In the main room, we will have a presentation on College is Possible. And then in just a moment, I will be turning this over to Mr. Pedro Mejia of the Montgomery College TRIO EOC program. Okay, Mr. Mejia.
Thank you. Do I have to turn, just a moment. Good afternoon, my name is Pedro Mejia from Montgomery College TRIO Educational Opportunity Center. And today we will be talking about how college is possible and an overview of the steps to take to attend community college, university, training programs. So this is what we do at TRIO Educational Opportunity Center. We help, we do admissions counseling. So if you will apply to in-state or out-of-state universities, we provide, for those students who qualify, we provide a voucher so that you don't have to pay for applying for admissions. We help applying for financial aid, find the scholarships. So we help you find state scholarships in colleges. We also offer free practice GED tests for those students who have not finished high school. We do academic advising, career advising, and financial literacy. So the steps to apply for a post-secondary education are different if you attend a community college to obtain an associate's degree or a certificate program or non-credit certifications. If you go attend a four-year college, a bachelor's degree, it's the process is different as well. In some areas it's similar, but these are the so the post-secondary education can also be an apprenticeship program, career training, schools. So the admission process to a community college is open admissions process. So what that means is that you can apply anytime to community college. So you will complete, the first step to do is completing an admissions application. And now you can complete the admissions applications online. You will take a placement test, the AccuPlacer, and then the scores indicate your English level or math level.
Mr. Mejia, we're unable to see your slides.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you see them now? Hello?
Yes, so if you just click on put it into presentation mode.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the services that we offer that we already talked about. And the goal today is to talk about an overview of how to apply for admissions up to registration at Montgomery College. But we want to talk also a little bit about the process to apply for universities. So if you apply to a community college, you can obtain an associate's degree, and then you can transfer to a 4-year program. Or for some students, they just want to get some training so they could do a certificate, which is 1 year, or they can take non-credit certifications. For example, you could take a CNA program at a community college. A 4-year colleges the admissions process is more competitive, and there you can obtain a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or doctorate degrees, or certification programs. Apprenticeship training and programs, they are done through the state of Maryland and some organizations, and we help you connect you with those programs. Also, you could attend career training schools. So the admission process at a community college, as I was saying, is an open admissions process. That means that you can apply anytime. So for any term, for example, you can apply now for summer or for the fall. And once you are admitted to a community college, you are admitted for life. So you could come back anytime to take classes. So the admissions application, you have to complete it online, and it's free. Before you had to pay $25, but now it's free. Then after you take the admissions, after you apply for admissions, you will take an AccuPlacer to see your level in English and math. That will tell Montgomery College whether or not you have to take the English 101 or other courses. When you apply for a 4-year college, the admission process is more competitive. So that means that you have to complete a really long admissions application, submit required documents. It could be essays, recommendations from teachers, and you will also have an interview, complete your SAT, ACT exam scores, and you will need your high school college transcripts. Apprenticeship programs, to get admitted, you register with an apprentice provider, and you're employed with a participating employer. And you also get paid for your training. So you attend training and you attend school. The attendance is really strict. The work requirements. Career training schools, you just apply for admissions, and the student pays the training, and you might be eligible to receive financial aid funds. One example could be Lincoln Tech for that. So first step to apply to Montgomery College, you go to here, to this website. So you apply for admissions. Make sure when you apply for admissions that you enter all the correct information. So can you see my screen right now? So you will go to montgomerycollege.edu, apply now, and then apply now again, and you will apply online, and you will create an account, first-time user creation account. You will create a student login and a PIN number, and then you will log in and you will start entering your information. Make sure that all the information that you enter is correct. Check your social security number, and you will enter it. They will ask for it. If you don't enter your social security number, when you apply for financial aid, they will not process your financial aid. Also, if you are a permanent resident, make sure that you indicate that you have a permanent residency and enter your green card number in the application. So the application will take about 15, 20 minutes to complete. And then they will send you an email with your student number and your MyMC login. Okay, so can you see my presentation now? Also, make sure that when you apply for admissions, you apply for financial aid. Submit your high school transcripts to our admissions after graduation. Complete the disability support services intake form if needed.
Mr. Mejia, I believe you have to do a new share. We still see the web application.
Okay. Okay. So after you have okay, so apply for admissions, apply for financial aid, submit your high school transcript. And if you will apply for disability, complete the intake form at montgomerycollege.edu DSSS. If you are applying for the DREAM Act, you will apply online as well. And here's the information, montgomerycollege.edu, Maryland, DREAM. So after you have applied for admissions and they send you the your M number, your student number, you will claim your account. And the way to claim your account, you log into montgomerycollege.edu and click on MyMC to claim your account. You will enter your student number. After you have claimed your account, if you have applied for financial aid, make sure that you complete your financial aid forms by clicking financial aid. And everything now, you have to complete it online and send it online. So after you have sent the forms, they will also send an email to the parent, and the parent needs to sign the form through dynamic forms. Make sure that you take the ALEX math and the math AccuPlacer to see your math level. In your if you're taking ESL classes, you also need to take the ESL test. And for more information, you can type assessment at the Montgomery College website, and it will give you all the steps needed. The test, if it's the math or the ESL or the AccuPlacer, it will be taken online. You don't have to go in person anymore. Also, make sure that you apply for the foundation scholarship. This foundation scholarship allows you to get between $250 and $2,500 per semester, and you can always renew it. It's a good idea to apply because sometimes some students, they don't qualify for free money or Pell Grant. So it's important to do that. Complete your financial aid forms. Also access MyMC to complete the student orientation online, the advising questionnaire, because if you don't complete all of this, you will not be able to register. Attend an academic orientation online by clicking on this icon on the starfish once you're inside your account. And once you activate your account, you will be able to make an appointment with a counselor. So fourth step is to achieve. Prepare for the semester. Make sure that you have your books ready. Make sure that you know what classes, what buildings you will attend, the hours. You will register for classes online, pay tuition and fees, obtain your Montgomery College ID from Student Life, obtain the parking pass in college-wide services. You can purchase or rent your books. And then last step, attend classes. I guess I got stuck here. This is my information. If you need to make an appointment, we help you with all the steps that we explain, applying for financial aid. And if you need to make an appointment, you can send me an email or text me. And here's the information for the staff. To make an appointment, you will need to complete an intake form. I'm not sure if you can see the, no, you can't. Okay, are there any questions? Or, hello? I guess you cannot hear me.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia. Just wondering, for when students, when Montgomery College TRIO EOC works with them, can you just kind of explain a little bit more about how they then use that program to connect them either to Montgomery College for work-related or credit or non-credit courses?
Yes, so we give the students 1 hour or longer appointments, and we, every student has different needs. Some students, they're actually just looking for work, or they need to build their resume. So we help them in those areas. We have also helped some students, look for work, create their resumes. We also help them decide on a career. So we used what's called Career Coach. And Career Coach is a really useful tool because it helps you just enter your information, and then at the end, it will kick a resume for the student in Microsoft Word, for example. After that, we upload the resume to Indeed.com, and also the results of the career test tell students about companies in our area that might be able to hire them as interns, for example, or entry-level jobs. So that's one thing we do. The other thing we help students with is finding scholarships in the non-credit side. For example, we have the Career Path Scholarship, which gives out $1,000, and they can get training. They can only apply once for that scholarship. But if they participate, for example, with HOC housing, they provide 85% of the cost of some classes, and the Career Path Scholarship pays for the other part. So that scholarship provides training in entry-level jobs, for example, CNA, medical assistant, commercial driver's license, and others. It's a long list. The other scholarship is called the Sequence Scholarship. That provides training in Amazon Web Servicer, for example, CNA, childcare, phlebotomy technician. They give out $2,000 on the first sequence and $2,000 in the second sequence. And for that scholarship, the students need to complete their FAFSA application online because they want to see the level of funding that they will have. In the application, you do it online and you email it. So that's one of the easiest applications to complete for scholarships. The only part is that it's limited. It doesn't have as much training as the other ones. So our goal at EOC is to connect students, to help them find, work so that they can study, because many students, they want to study and work. So we also connect them with the WIOA program through Maryland. That's called the Workers Investment Act. And for that, the students need to be U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and they have to have a high school diploma as well. So that training, you can get training in any county in Maryland. Is that what you wanted, the information you needed?
Yes, thank you. And another question would be, what kind of supports do you all provide to students in terms of helping them to balance the that work-life balance?
I'm not sure if so balance work in school?
Yeah, so if they are employed and they are also taking, let's say, a workforce development course, how do they, as 17, 18, 19-year-olds, helping them kind of balance those things?
Yes, so we offer, we have student workers at Montgomery College, and so they can study and work. So we make sure that they're not working as much. Like, some students, they would be working 8 hours and then school. So that, and we also have brochures that help guide students, and guide them. For example, if you're taking a 3-credit class, you have to study at least 6 hours. You have to dedicate time for homework, and so you have to be aware of how many hours you can work per week. So we help in that area.
Mr. Mejia, I have another question. Can you talk a little bit about the partnerships that Montgomery College has with universities that are local or colleges across the country for students who wish to further their education after MC, whether it's in a non-credit course that they're from a non-credit program that they're taking at Montgomery College or a credit program?
Yes, so Montgomery College has a partnership with the universities at Shady Grove. And it's really cool because you can, after you finish a 2-year program in Montgomery College, you can study in Rockville and you don't have to travel like far. And you can, they don't offer all the majors at the Shady Grove's universities, but they offer social work, for example, and others. Let me see if you can. So they have 9 universities at Shady Grove. Can you, let me see, new share. So, and they have 80 degrees. And here are the universities. So different universities offer different majors. UMBC offers this. And you can also do graduate school there, history, political sciences, social work. So when you get your major, you will get it from UMBC if you study that. Okay. Is this the question that, do I answer your question, or do you have any other ideas of partnerships that you wanted?
No, that answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. And so when you study at Montgomery College, you can transfer to other community colleges as well. Or let's say that you wanted to study to be a dental hygienist. You can take the prerequisites at Montgomery College, and then you can transfer to Howard Community College, for example. So classes that you take at one community college or university, they don't get lost. You can actually transfer them to other universities in the country or community colleges in Maryland or universities. So there are advantages about studying at a community college. For example, the classes are smaller, you live closer to home. It might allow you to work and study while you're in a community college. Or you could take a short program like a certificate, for example, 1-year program in, I forget the name of the program, but it's about a program about sleep. You study sleep science, you study 1 year, and you can potentially earn $60,000 per year. So, so there are short programs, certificates at Montgomery College that have a high earning potential in that, you know, you can start building your career at Montgomery College. Is there any other questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Mejia, for presenting this information on College is Possible. So one of the things that we also wanted to stress and emphasize with today's conference is that although students are going to be entering into the workforce, that doesn't have to be the end. Because a lot of times what you all may want to do is become your own boss at some point, or you may want to consider going into a field. So how do you best manage that? So if you are, let's say, going and you want to open up your own IT company, or you're an electrician, or you're going into a nursing program and you want to run your own facility or have your own landscaping company or what have you, then we wanted to make sure that we had our higher educational partners here to help you kind of bridge the gap between being in the workforce as well as continuing with your education beyond high school. Yes, you could take courses in accounting, you can take business courses because you want to know how do you manage your money that way, especially for being an entrepreneur. So again, thank you, Mr. Mejia from Montgomery College, Ontario EOC program. The information was very, very helpful.
Thank you for having me.
So we are going to, I'm just closing our breakout rooms so that everyone else will rejoin us. And once everyone has rejoined us, then I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker from the Maryland Apprenticeship Programs. And so just bear with us for just one moment. Great. Welcome back, everyone, from the midday learning sessions. Again, this is Alexis Lee. I am an instructional specialist for Montgomery County Public Schools, and we are in the Get Ready, Get Set Workforce Readiness Conference for high school students. I am about to introduce a phenomenal person who is, again, part of a really strong partner with Montgomery County Public Schools, as well as other school districts within the state of Maryland. And what she's going to talk with you all about or present to you, or, it's just the importance of being able to take advantage of these opportunities. So the Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Program is a division of the Workforce Development and Adult Learning within the Department of Labor for the state of Maryland. Ms. Gina Marie Best is one of the key contacts for us, and I would like to turn it over to her. Ms. Best, welcome, and we look forward to the information that you have to impart to our students in our Zoom, as well as those who are watching via YouTube. Ms. Best will be joining us in just a moment. She is here. So while we wait for Ms. Best, why don't we have a kind of a quick recap of what we've done today? So those who are watching via YouTube, as well as those who are here in the Zoom with us, we talked about our strengths and how we can use our strengths to maximize and access those opportunities that are waiting for us to access and that will come upon us. We also learned about how to write our resumes and our cover letters and what a professional email looks like, which also is very important when you think about that signature and that email address. Having a nickname and at the top of your resume, that's not really, again, when you think about what that front-facing is side of you is for employability, you want to make sure that you have a professional email address. And then from those areas, we also then looked at, you received information on dressing for success and also what how to present yourself in an interview. And I know that when it comes to dressing for success, it may seem or feel really conservative, and that sometimes people feel like they can't present their true selves. But when you think about like the business world and just the world of work, no matter what position or opportunity you are applying for, when they see you, that is their very first impression. And so when you think back on the strengths and the opportunities, what are you putting on your public-facing side? So as again, a number of employers will maybe look at some of your social media or Google you. And so you want to make sure that that is also representative of what it is that your vision is for yourself as you move towards the future. And so as we get ready to transition again, Ms. Best will be joining us in just a moment. When you have opportunities later on at 1:30 to visit the different virtual booths of our industry partners, yes, we're not looking for you to be dressed for success today, but when those opportunities do arise, you want to make sure that you show up in your best. And so I would also like to introduce Mr. Sean Krasa, who has been a significant support through this entire development and creation of the Workforce Readiness Conference. And again, we have had a tremendous project team that has put together today's conference as the first ever event. Mr. Krasa, would you like to speak just a little bit about the importance of apprenticeships and what MCPS and the work that you're doing around apprenticeships for Montgomery County Public Schools?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay, Alexis? Okay.
Yes.
I'm getting a message that my internet is unstable. So if I pause, that's why. So yes, to answer the question, MCPS is introducing a youth apprenticeship program. And starting in the 21-22 school year, we'll have students actually registered to do a 450-hour paid work-based learning experience, and they'll be working directly with an employer for the related instruction and on-the-job training that they have identified and will be providing the student during that experience. It looks like Gina Marie Best has joined us now, and she'll be able to go more in depth about our Apprenticeship Maryland program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting and being patient for me to get on. I was on, but Alex, you were just speaking on, and I didn't want to interrupt you because you had great information. So I'm here today to tell you about the Maryland Apprenticeship Training Program. I am the navigator for the apprenticeship program for Montgomery County and Prince George's County. What I do is I assist employers in creating apprenticeship programs and getting the word out to schools and job seekers about those programs. I also help job seekers get that information. So for those who don't know what a registered apprenticeship program, it is an earn and learn model. The state requires that a registered apprenticeship program have a minimum of 2,000 on-the-job training hours and 144 related instruction hours per year for that particular occupation. And the occupations range from your traditional trades, as in construction, electrical, plumbing. I also add in auto mechanics as well with that, bricklayers, that type of thing, as well as IT, cybersecurity, which are considered your non-traditionals, healthcare. And as time goes on, we find that more and more employers are finding this is a great way to not only bring in employees, but also to give them the training they really need. And not to say that college is not a path. This is the other path. Because we know there are some students that are college bound, and we know that there are some that are not, whether it be for financial reasons or just that setting is just really not for them. But for parents, apprenticeship programs do continue their education. And I want to stress that because I think a lot of people think apprenticeship, they automatically think trades, and that they're not getting an education. No, there is related instruction that is connected with every occupation of a registered apprenticeship program. And we work with all 16 community colleges in the state of Maryland. So they are willing to take those credits and take those classes and turn them into credits if those people choose to continue their education as well as having a career. For parents, this is more of, I call it the reassurance. Nobody wants their wonderful children to be living with them, you know, in their basement, attic, or side house when they're 40. So this is definitely a career path. It is a job day one. They are employed day one. But it does have a progressive wage scale. But most of our apprenticeship programs, usually they start off at minimum wage or better. And we're looking at careers that end in, salaries starting at, 50, 60 a year. So this is definitely a path that if you know that as a student or as a parent that you know that your children are not going to college or it's something that can't be afforded, this is another way of doing that because you're not incurring that student debt. So that's the other big plus, no student debt. So I am going to share my screen because I want to show you what our apprenticeship locator looks like. If I can figure out share screen. And let's see. Okay, wonderful. Do you just see the screen or do you see me on the side of that screen? If anybody can chime in and let me know.
We see the website.
Okay, wonderful. So I did put the website address in the chat. It on this page, it's a little bit long. We just go mdapprenticeship.com and it will bring you to this page. And as you can see, it's our wonderful logo with the apprenticeship locator. If you just click on that or be an apprentice, it will bring you to another search engine, which we can either click on the logo again or the search now. And as you can see, it's really user-friendly. and area friendly. So I always encourage people that even though you live in Prince George's or Montgomery County, and I say Prince George's and Montgomery County because I cover both, so I apologize. Please do not just check those counties that you live in. Check in surrounding areas, because a sponsor is listed on here by where their home office is, where their main headquarters is, but doesn't mean that they don't do work in your area. So I'm just gonna pick a few here just to widen out the search. And as you can see, as you scroll down, you can search by regular and youth, or both. So I am going to do both because Sean touched on the youth apprenticeship, which is officially called the Apprenticeship Maryland Program. I say AKA youth apprenticeship. And again, that does require that employers get approved by our office, by our council, excuse me, and to participate in any of these programs. For the parents and students and for the school staff, this is to ensure you that the business is in good standing. They are official business. We do a site visit as well to make sure that it's safe for the students. With a youth program, again, as Sean said, it is 450 hours of on-the-job training with that employer. It is a job day one, so they are hired as an employee as well. And it requires them to take a class with the school system or within house that will go towards their high school graduation credits. So that's the best part. It's not like they're just got a job and, taking a class that's related to it. It is going towards their graduation. A majority of our employers that are part of the AMP program do also have registered apprenticeship programs. And what we find is that they're rolling over the students from the youth apprenticeship to their registered apprenticeship program and giving them credit for the AMP program as well. So they're going in with 450 hours in the class that they take. So as you can see, you can search by occupation, industry, or sponsor. So we're going to do a couple of occupations and kind of round it out here. As you can see, the list is very detailed and long. From government, business services to, the traditional trades. So we're gonna pick a few here. I'm just gonna randomly pick some stuff because it's fun just to do it that way. Put this in the cybersecurity, automotive. That's a good one. Let's see if that one comes up. Hit the search. And as you can see, this wonderful page comes up. Now, this is a list of all the sponsors, where they do business and what counties they deal with, and the occupations in which they do their apprenticeship programs for in the industries. This is just a brief snapshot. Let's do, we'll do cybersecurity. So, when you click on view more details, you'll notice that, again, it'll show all the counties that they're working with. Montgomery County is right here for Trans Ed. The occupation, the industry, sponsor's name, their information. So as you can see, their main office is located in Baltimore. So if they just click Montgomery County, this would not have come up because they're located in Baltimore City. It has a brief description of the job, how long the program is, which it's 2,000 hours. So that means it's a year long. It is 40 hours a week, and the starting wage is $10.25, which I'm going to assume, I can't guarantee you, that this is going to go up because we require that all our sponsors the starting wage is minimum wage or better. So this may be an average minimum wage because as we know, Montgomery County's minimum wage is higher than Allegheny or Washington County or something to that effect. So the minimum age is 18, high school diploma, and you'll have their contact information. And I want to stress this because I do get a lot of emails from job seekers who have gone on here and they say, hey, I like that cybersecurity job. Here's my application. The Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Program does not do any of the hiring. We have no bearing on the application, so we strongly suggest that you contact the person that is on the listing, as well as go to their website and see what else that they offer. You will have to directly send your application into them or your resumes into them. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I know I went pretty fast. I know I'm very limited in time, so.
Do all apprenticeship programs require high school diploma?
A majority of them do. Basically, we found that the wording high school diploma, it's usually high school diploma, GED, or in the process of getting your GED. And a lot of our programs, yes, they do start at the age of 18, but we do have a lot more that start at 16. Like CVS has store manager apprenticeship program, as well as pharmaceutical tech. Because they are a store and a retail store, they actually start hiring at age 16. So you really do have to really look at that. And don't be afraid to contact those sponsors. Say, hey, you know, I don't have my high school diploma yet, but I graduate, you know, in 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be. They may still accept your application and put you into a class and have you go through the process, but then you wouldn't start their apprenticeship program until after you graduate, that type of thing. So don't let that age and the high school and the education requirements deter you from applying to any of the programs. So, good question. Any other questions, comments, concerns? I must add, with the AMP program, you do want to get, Sean, if I'm correct, with your school career counselors to get that list. It's also on the school website. They did create a website just for the AMP program. Those employers vary. Some of them do have registered apprenticeship programs, some of them don't. But we do have great success with the youth apprenticeship, which means that a lot of the students that are, and Sean added that website to the chat for those who need to know where that website is. We find a lot of the employers are really pleased with the juniors and seniors that they are getting, and they're often offering them permanent positions with the company. So that means, you know, they see the potential within the students. So definitely take advantage of that resource. Any other questions, comments, concerns? With that, I will conclude. I'll actually add my email information into the chat. You're more than welcome to reach out to me with any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else you'd like. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Best. Thank you so much for the wealth of information. We definitely look forward to continuing our partnership with you, and also having our seniors continue to supply, you know, our to the workforce, our awesome seniors and students from Montgomery County Public Schools. Okay, so at this point, I am going to turn this over to Mr. Sean Krasa. We are going to now transition to our Connecting the Dots panel discussion. Mr. Krasa.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to first begin by thanking all of our students to join us for today. This is a great opportunity to hear about the resources and opportunities when it comes to workforce development. And we've had some great presenters today, and I know that as you're getting closer to graduation, you may be getting a little nervous, like, oh, I don't have all my plans and details worked out. That's totally okay. You may have certain parts of your plan started that you're working on, or you may know exactly what you want to do at this point in time, and you may just need a little more guidance to get to that next step. And so what I'd like to do, our panel presentation is going to be broken up into two parts today. The first part, I'm going to introduce a panel member and then ask them a question related to their organization. And there were a couple questions that were already submitted by our panelists, so I added them and kind of built them into our panel discussion today. And then the second part of our panel discussion, I'm going to open it up for questions. I have several questions that were already submitted from our audience today, so I'll be sure to open that up. And then if you have any additional questions, we encourage you to add that to the chat. Also, too, as I'm introducing the panel members, if you could add your name, your title, and organization that you're working with to the chat, that would be very valuable to all of our audience members. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to first begin with introducing Dwayne from the Children's Guild Alliance. Now, when we think about TAWS, and especially this past school year, we have students that have an interest in working during the school day or during the morning, and they're really interested in having a little more flexibility in their academic schedule, meaning they could take high school classes at different times during the day. They could access college classes. So in thinking about the TAWS program, Dwayne, how can TAWS help students balance working with an employer to advance in their career goals while also managing their core academic studies or college classes?
Thank you, Sean. The perfect TAWS student is a student who's already has a job and they're trying to maximize their work potential. And hopefully that work potential is leading them into a career. So what we do, the first thing we do is a transcript review, and we see what courses the students need. And then we're able to apply online courses or work with the high school or work with Montgomery College to provide a schedule. And what we find is that flexible schedule can really work for students. For example, they might work from 9 to 5 during the day, and then they do their coursework in the evening or on the weekends. It is not surprising, I'm sure, that many high school students will do their coursework at midnight, where I'm generally asleep. So their schedules and my schedule are different, but we work the academic program that fits their schedule. And then we make sure that they balance their family life, their schoolwork, and their work environment so that they're healthy and trying to promote their own welfare.
And Dwayne, when they graduate high school, will TAWS continue to work with them and provide supports and resources?
We continue to maintain the relationship and also try to provide opportunities. For example, Gina Marie just talked about apprenticeship opportunities. As they become available, we make sure that our TAWS alumni students are connected with that. What we find, Sean, is that students who generally have to work in high school have to work during college too. And they continue to need that balance. So we stay in contact even after graduation.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And Gina Marie had an opportunity to talk about Apprenticeship Maryland and our youth apprenticeship program. The next guest I'd like to introduce is Tyler Bloom from Congressional Country Club. And this is a new partnership with MCPS, and we're in the process of setting up a youth apprenticeship program in golf course management. And this is already something that's a registered apprenticeship, but it will be new for the 21-22 school year. So Tyler, could you share with us kind of like a snapshot or summary of what this experience might be like from an employer standpoint?
For an employer at Congressional, I think it's an opportunity to engage some bright young people and introduce them into the golf industry where maybe they had no idea that there were career pathways. And that may lead to managing a golf course, could lead them to being somebody who takes care of irrigation, equipment. So if you're interested in mechanics, sort of STEM-based career paths, it's a really good opportunity. So for Congressional, I think, again, it's dynamic. I will tell you, it's only it's the first golf course in the state for approved apprenticeship. And we're super excited and, honored to be here today.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. And the next guest I'd like to introduce is Jimmy from Montgomery College. Now, we've learned a little bit earlier this morning about industry credentials and Montgomery College classes, and MCPS has a great partnership with Montgomery College. In fact, we know that we have high school students currently taking classes at Montgomery College, and then once they graduate, they continue. So one of the questions from our audience, Jimmy, was, are there scholarship opportunities or financial assistance if I have an interest in taking a college course at MC, or maybe even taking an industry credential like in IT, or it was mentioned the Certified Nursing Assistant certification? Is there financial assistance that students can access?
Yeah, at Montgomery College, we really see the needs for different programs and different kind of financial funding to help students. So we have hundreds of different kinds of scholarships available to credits as well as non-credits. So because there are so many of them, it depends on the program you're trying to pursue. And what I usually suggest a student to do is that if you are looking for a career or a degree program, you may want to go into our website and actually search for the type of scholarship you're looking for, because every one of them is different, because there are so many of them. But we do have financial aid and scholarships available for both some non-credits as well as the credit side of the college. So we do have financial fundings, especially if you're coming out and you're trying to get into the credit programs. The states provide American College Promise as well. So depending on your situation, but we do have plenty of different type of scholarships available for students.
Perfect, thank you. And the next guest I'd like to introduce is Tasha from Greater Washington CoLab. We have a great partnership. And the Greater Washington CoLab is partnered with universities and employers in the greater DC area, from Richmond to Baltimore. And so Tasha, in thinking about students taking college courses and accessing internship experiences, how can they balance taking their college studies and then the internship experience at the same time to build their resume?
Thanks, Sean. And I also just want to say that I'm joined today by two of our campus ambassadors as well here at the CoLab. They may have introduced themselves already. But firstly, I encourage all students to look at internships at every level when they're enrolled in college, from freshman up until their senior level of school. Internships are going to show the jobs and organizations that you have those skills and you're putting them into real world practice. The way the students are balancing them right now is, quite honestly, is they're doing virtual internships. That is what a lot of our students are doing right now, and balancing that with their schoolwork, and they're finding the time to do the virtual internship experience as well as going into their schoolwork.
And Tasha, could you also share a little bit about industry credentialing and badging?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the way the badging works here at the Greater Washington Partnership at Capital CoLab is that students are registered for a set of courses or pathways at one of our 20 universities that we partner with. And so once those students take those courses or pathways, that then leads to a digital badge. That digital badge can then be displayed on your LinkedIn. Had students apply them to their actual physical resume as well. And what it allows the companies to do is to see that you have those skills that they need to fill the positions that they're looking for.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And then the next person I'd like to introduce is Sergeant Slide from the Maryland State Police. And Sergeant Slide, we often have students that are interested in public service and leadership. So they may want to go into the police academy, they may want to go to fire and rescue academy, or even maybe be an EMT to help serve our families and community members in Montgomery County. Could you share a little bit about your story and why you chose to go into a career in law enforcement?
Good afternoon. My story begins from me being a little boy growing up in the inner city of Baltimore. We traveled a lot. My parents, we used to go to New York to visit my uncle, my godmother in Detroit, and, just family vacation. So I always loved seeing state troopers on the highway. I always loved the uniforms, especially the cars. So that was one of the things that drew me to wanting to become a trooper. But then as far as wanting to get in the law enforcement period, it started from, and I'm gonna tell on my age now, the Officer Friendly program. When we were in elementary school, we used to have the Officer Friendly, used to come to the schools and talk to us. So I just always said then from elementary school that I wanted to be a police officer. And then I remember in the 70s, the officers used to walk on foot and they would stop and talk to the neighbors. They'd talk to the kids and they let us sit inside the car and play with the radio and the siren. So again, that's what drew my attention to want to get into law enforcement. So as time went on, I tried, and then another thing too, when the drug scene hit the inner cities very hard, I grew up watching drug dealers selling drugs in my neighborhood. And right then and there, I knew this was my calling because I wanted to make a difference. So that's what put me in the direction of wanting to be into law enforcement, to make a difference in the community. So with that, I would say with the students is just your grades. Keep good grades in school. Of course, stay out of trouble. Watch the company that you keep. Make sure you don't do drugs, because I knew that in order to be a police officer, I had to be squeaky clean. I couldn't have no arrest record, couldn't try drugs or anything of that nature. And that all falls in the line of the EMT side of it too, because we're all first responders, either if you're a police officer, a firefighter, or you're working on the AMBO as a EMS worker.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Sergeant Sly. And the next person I'd like to introduce on our panel is Natalie from Montgomery County Public Schools. And, you know, oftentimes we think about MCPS as students attending class each day, teachers working with them to help prepare them academically to graduate. But the part I think we often don't realize is that MCPS is probably one of the largest employers in Montgomery County. And there are a number of different opportunities that students could access. So Natalie, could you share a little bit about what career opportunities and job positions that would be available if a student in MCPS had an interest?
Thank you, Sean. Like you mentioned, MCPS is the largest employer in Montgomery County. We have almost 25,000 employees, and like you mentioned, most of the time, the community and students think of us as just a teacher workforce. But in fact, we have almost 10,000 employees who work on the operations side, or the supporting services professional side of the house. And MCPS is committed to hiring and maintaining a highly qualified, diverse, and culturally proficient workforce. And in the positions that we have, yes, you can be a teacher, but we also have positions that range from account assistant and budgeting, secretary, auto parts supervisor, working on our diesel buses, or now on our green buses, food services, security, communications, TV productions, IT. We have over 500 different job classifications because MCPS, we do most of our work in-house. So there's so many different positions. And the great thing about coming to work for Montgomery County Public Schools is we also offer tuition reimbursement. And we have over 7 teacher pathways for our current employees who want to become a teacher one day. You're able to do that with reduced tuition opportunities and paid internships. So there's not just teaching and MCPS, which is what everyone thinks we do, because that is what we're here for primarily, but we also run the operations side of the business. And so with so many job opportunities available to future employees, the best thing to do would be to look at our comprehensive careers website, where you can just look at job descriptions and browse through just to see, okay, what's the minimum qualification do I need for this? Do I need to go to college for this? Am I able to start right away? So a previous panelist mentioned that a lot of students are going to need to work while they're in college. So MCPS can be a great employer for students who are looking for those opportunities and built-in tuition reimbursement and start and end their career with MCPS.
Agreed. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Dwayne has been working with us in MCPS, because starting in 2021-22, we'll have our first youth apprenticeship student that's already going to be in MCPS as a youth apprentice in our print shop from Einstein High School. So we're very excited to not only have future students consider MCPS as an employer, but I think youth apprenticeship is a great introduction. And so we're really excited about that work and that journey that we're starting there. The next panel member I'm going to introduce is Mirren from Worksource Montgomery. Now, Mirren, you had a great presentation earlier today, and you talked about all the resources and opportunity that Worksource Montgomery has available for students to access. One of the questions that we got from our panel, or from our audience, was, if I've never had a job with an employer, or maybe worked for an employer for a very short period of time, will that limit or prevent me from being able to access a job with an employer through Worksource Montgomery? I think your microphone is on mute.
I'm the one that reminds others usually. So I just want to say what a wonderful opportunity this is for all of us. And I certainly am enjoying it to be on this inaugural panel by MCPS, on workforce development. And may I also say that I'll be reaching out, other than the students, I'll be reaching out to a lot of the panelists here to see how we can partner at Worksource Montgomery with you, because there seem to be some awesome opportunities, collaborative opportunities. To your question, Sean, to the students' question, yes, absolutely they can. So if they have worked before, even if it's for a month or two or for longer, we welcome them in our program. That does not in any way limit them from joining the program.
Great, thank you. And also, I have two student ambassadors. Tasha had mentioned their names earlier, Anika and Jimmy from the Greater Washington CoLab. Jimmy and Anika, when we think about work-based learning and the industry badging that is available through the Greater Washington CoLab partnership, what can you share with our students in the audience? What advice would you give them? What do they need to know about this opportunity? Or if it's totally new to them, where would they find this information as a student?
Hi, everybody. So specifically speaking about the Capital CoLab, well, actually, let me just start in general. You definitely want to take advantage of your Career Center. The university's Career Center has, any university's Career Center will have a lot of resources for every single student. And specifically speaking about the Capital CoLab program, we offer a digital tech credential program that's geared towards students in all majors, and it'll help you gain technical skills that employers in the Capital region are looking for. And taking these courses, so at VCU, I'm a student at VCU, and for my school, you have to take 4 courses, and after taking those courses, you'll gain technical skills in data analytics and data security, and these are skills that employers in the Capital region are looking for, and taking these courses and having the badge on your resume and LinkedIn really helps employers see that you're serious about the digital tech field, and you'll have streamlined access to internships, mentorships, and you'll also have insight into the job market. And again, all of this, these are things that can only help you. And again, I really highly suggest that students take advantage of their Career Center, career advisors, because they can be very beneficial. They'll give you a lot of information.
And Jimmy, would you like to add?
Hi, my name is Jimmy Chan, and I go to George Mason University. So I also am a collab student and also the ambassador for George Mason University as well. So just like how Annika said, very similarly, it's basically like students can be able to take a few courses at George Mason University to gain digital tech skills, coming from like data analysis, analyst, and just very general courses in statistics too. And I do feel like when students do complete those courses and gain a digital badge, it does help students look for internships and jobs as well. And also like the Career Center is very helpful as well because there's like a lot of resources that students can come and also go to their academic advisors as well does help. So I do feel like doing the digital tech credential and gaining the digital badge is very helpful as well. And it's also very similar to like getting a certification as well, like when it comes to like security pluses or network plus, because I had a bunch of friends that did certification and it did help them like got a job, like very good jobs, and they got interviews and a job. So I do feel like it's very helpful. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Anika and Jimmy. And at this point, we're going to transition to part 2 of the panel discussion. So now that we've had an opportunity for each one of our panel members to answer questions related to either their company or organization or questions in general from our audience, I'm going to open these questions up to panel members to respond to. The first question is, what's the difference between an internship and an apprenticeship?
I can take a stab at that, Sean, if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead, Tasha.
So in my opinion, when working with students in internships and apprenticeships, internships are shorter. So it's usually a few weeks or so, like summer internships. Apprenticeships are a little bit longer. It's years. You're mastering skills at an apprenticeship. So internships, typically some students sometimes get paid for those internships. Sometimes they're not. Apprenticeships, in my opinion, have been paid opportunities, but you are mastering those skills at that work. And internships, you can bounce around. You can do a variety of things that you can maybe take those skills and go other places. But an internship is usually something that's very crafted into what you're going to do. And that's pretty much the experience I've seen with both.
I'm going to add to it. Thank you. Because to me, internship is a bad word. But usually how we associate it is internships are usually connected with secondary schoolings and things of that nature. So you need to do the work to get credit towards your degree to that nature. With an apprenticeship, you are an employee day one, and it is on-the-job training, and it's a career path with that particular occupation. So,
and if I could just add, Gina Marie,
please do.
An apprenticeship has a very structured learning of skills, and at the end of the apprenticeship, there is a pay increase because the pay is then tied to the acquisition of those skills. So I think of an internship as more of an experience, where I think of an apprenticeship as a ladder, and there are rungs, and with each rung that you go up, there's a pay change associated with each rung.
I think that was perfectly put.
And I think so as well. Tyler, did you want to add to that before we ask the next question?
Yeah, I think there's certainly, more of a mentorship aspect, that one-on-one instruction, from a supervisor, that I think really makes it unique. Obviously, everybody kind of commented, it's really custom tailored, experienced for skill sets and building skill sets. And obviously the pay increase is an added bonus, and you can still get college level credit and unique certifications. So different, in my opinion, than an internship. I look back at my experience where it was only 3 months, and it was really kind of a very generalized approach, and you kind of sometimes felt like you were just a cog in the wheel. Where I think with apprenticeship, it's really giving you a pathway to work for an organization and give you sort of more, I would call, detailed approach to your day.
And one of the questions from our student panel or student audience was, if I choose to do an apprenticeship, can I earn college credit? Or can I do an apprenticeship in college at the same time?
Yes.
Before I have to put a quarter in the jar, I was like, let me unmute. Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler. Did you want to jump on?
I'll jump in on that. At least from what I've seen with business partners is, yes, you can earn college level credit. Oftentimes, whether it's through a community college, a university system, they're looking to basically offer those apprenticeship models as well. So yeah, absolutely.
I find that like I said earlier, we work with all 16 community colleges. A lot of our sponsors use the community colleges as the related instruction provider. So you're technically a student, but you're not a student because you're not incurring that student debt, but you are taking classes at the college. And again, as I said, we work with all the community colleges. So again, if you want to take the classes that you are learning, let's say with an employer who's not using one of the community colleges, they will look over those classes and turn them into college credits for you. So.
Okay. And this next question from our student audience, I think it's for Sergeant Slide. If I choose to go into, let's say, the police academy after I earn my high school diploma, what type of training am I going to have access to? Like, what is that experience like? What can I expect if that's a career I want to go into?
That's a great question. After high school, you're not old enough to become a police officer because you have to be 21 years old to carry a gun. So we have the cadet program where I'm a part-time recruiter. So you can come in as a cadet, you will wear the uniform just like a state trooper. You're basically going to be working alongside a trooper. The cadet has the advantage of learning about the agency because you're around troopers, you see what troopers do, you get the lingo, you learn a lot of their policies and procedures with the agency. And I'm not just going to talk about the state police because you have Montgomery County, they have a cadet program, you have other law enforcement agencies, they have cadet programs. So that's the segue of getting you inside the door to law enforcement. And then when you become 20 and a half, then you can apply to become a trooper or a police officer to go into the academy. One of the things that's an advantage with our agency, once you finish the academy, while you're in the academy, you're earning college credits. So once you're done, you can stay another 6 weeks before you go out and do your field training to be cut loose on your own. And those college credits you will earn an associate's degree through us for free. So, so to answer that question, you have to start out in a cadet program first until you reach the age of 20 and a half.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Does that mean that if, let's say I'm not 21 yet, I remember those days, that if I'm in the cadet program, do I kind of get credit when I go into becoming a full police officer or applying for the police officer exam, that type of thing? Is that looked upon as an extra boost towards that?
Correct. Yep, that's an excellent question. So your time goes towards your retirement because as a trooper, it's a 25-year retirement. So your day of hire, that time goes towards your retirement. So once you transition from cadet to trooper, or just say officer, if you're with another agency, that time goes in towards your retirement. So instead of you doing 25 years, you do 22 years. And then also it helps, again, it's your advantage to get promoted sooner. So say a person comes in at 21, but they have to, they're learning from scratch from the academy. The cadet has a head start because they've learned a lot of the things prior to going into the academy. So it's a lot of advantages in going in as a cadet. And you still get the benefits as far as your health benefits, vacation, and things of that nature. Because our current colonel and our previous colonel, they went up through the ranks as they started out as cadets and worked their way up to the head of the state police.
Okay, very good. So the next question for our panel members is going to be focused on industry credentials. And I think for a very long time, we've put a lot of attention and energy on college. And the formula was go to college, get a resume, you'll have a great job. Well, the idea of apprenticeship, we spent a lot of time today talking about that. Industry credentialing is something that's been around for a while, but maybe hasn't got as much attention. So for a high school student, it could be fairly new if they're not at a CTE program like Thomas Edison High School of Technology or Seneca. So I'd like to open it up to the panel to talk a little bit about industry credentials. What are they? What are employers looking for? Why, as a student, would I want to consider doing something of that nature, like taking a course for earning an industry credential?
I can speak to that, you know, from Montgomery College perspective, because we as a college, you know, understand that not all students coming out of high school is going to go to college and get a degree and then, you know, transfer to four-year institutions, get a bachelor degree or something like that. Many of them are simply wanting to get out there, earn a skill, a certain specialty, and then go out and work. And so we have various different types of certifications. Like if you want to go into HR, we have SHRM's certifications. You know, you want to go into building and construction, we have certification for that. If you're good with your hands and you want to work with cars, we have certification for auto mechanics or HVAC technicians. All of these, because we know that these are the trades and skills that are really in demand out there. But not many people are realizing how rewarding these careers can be. Having to go to Montgomery College, for example, much less time than if you were to complete an associate degree or so.
Thank you.
Sean,
go ahead, Dwayne.
My nephew is a really good example. He went to Frostburg State University, got his English degree, couldn't find a job, started going and building up his credentials, help desk, computer repair, has found a wonderful career in IT, but it wasn't his bachelor's degree in English that got him that. It was building up those credentials after he had already graduated. And I don't want to say lessons learned, but it just goes to show you that where, as Jimmy said, where the money is built on those credentials.
Right. Sean, to add to what the others have said, with Worksource Montgomery as well, that's what we do. With our youth program, we make sure that everyone that comes through our doors has a training, because we're dealing with youth, and resumes don't have any credentials as such on them. And the job market is a competitive place. So we offer, like, as in IT, maybe A+, as I'd mentioned before, networking plus, et cetera. These are all certifications, and these are national certifications. And the earning capacity is amazing. And I always quote the example of the MCPS student. There are others, but of one that just sort of came to us maybe in a 90-day timeline, took the A+, the IT courses, and got employed with an IT firm right here in Bethesda, Maryland, at a starting salary of $42.5. Now, that's a success story. And, there's no cost of the training. It's a win for everybody. So I did want to illustrate that.
And Ken from Montgomery College, thank you for joining us. Did you want to add to the conversation?
Sure. All that everybody has said is very good, and I'm going to re-emphasize something that my friend Ms. Bess has said. There are apprenticeships, and we also offer certifications, and in those certifications, you, within 6 weeks to a year, can change your life. I mean, we all know we want to take summer vacation, and we take that moment, but then we come back and we say, what do we want to do with ourselves? One example I would add to this mix is we have a certificate in apartment maintenance management. Now, some people might say, who cares about, fixing a toilet, or who cares about fixing a door? But if you have a little skill set, you're willing to go through that training, in a year and a half, you can make a 6-figure salary, and you will be somewhere between some education and high school and some education, and you can continue on. There are tremendous opportunities for students to realize their dreams in any way, shape, or form in the resources that are on this call right now. So they got to try them all, because they will find that some will match, some will grow, and they'll be happy. I mean, I'll add one other footnote to the police one. For Montgomery County has a Boy Scout Explorer group. That's time and experience in the county, and you get to learn as well. And you can do that between 14 to about 21 as an explorer. But at that same time, you could also move into being a cadet for the county police. So there are many opportunities for anyone, for law enforcement, you name the career. Montgomery County has an opportunity, just waiting for one of these students to make it big.
Thank you, Ken. And this final question, I'd like to open it up to all the panel members. What words of wisdom or advice would you give our student audience today? I know growing up, I used to always hear my parents say, wait till you get to the real world. And I never really knew what that meant or understood what that meant when I was in high school. But when I became a teacher, it all kind of made sense. We in education spend so much time preparing to take the test. Well, sometimes when you get out into the real world, you take the test first, then you learn the lesson. And I think experience is a great teacher. So if we could just take the last few minutes, and if our panel members could just kind of speak from personal experience, professional experience, what advice would you give our student audience today?
Sean, if I could add, I want to just reassure our students that are watching today, all of us that are on this call today, looking very professional. We know our fields. We know we're enthusiastic about our careers. We didn't start this way. We started and bumbled through and bounced around in our late teens and 20s and 30s and even 40s around to different positions, different careers, to see what we would enjoy doing and what we were good at. I didn't start off as an 18-year-old in college thinking I was going to do internal recruitment for a school system. I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. Just if you can be purposeful with your time, is the best advice that I can give you, because you will learn those lessons, and those will be lessons that you talk about when you are giving examples during an interview for potentially a new career. You want to be really purposeful with your actions, with your networking. Sergeant Stanley, he mentioned being, purposeful with who you're hanging around with, the choices that you're making, and it'll all work out. You'll have a long life to work, believe me, and but be purposeful with it, and know that you'll find your way. If you can latch onto a mentor as soon as possible, someone you can trust that can give you some feedback and advice that's honest. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, and I'd like to jump in as well along the lines of Natalie. mentor, finding a mentor. And it's, you know, we say find a mentor, and it's not really like going up to someone and asking, will you be my mentor? But I think those relationships develop naturally sometimes, and you don't know that that person's being a mentor to you. So I think that's something that has always helped me. I started out as a history major in my undergrad experience, didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, with that degree, and somehow found myself working here at a nonprofit. It was really because I asked people along the way, well, what do you see? Like, what is my skill set? What does this look like? And my mentors were very helpful in saying, you've studied education, so what are you going to do with that? Where are you going to go from here? And I think that was something that I've always held on to. And so I tell all the students now, find that mentor. If it's a peer mentor, even that, and then continue to build your mentorship relationships and nurture those relationships.
I'd also like to add on to that. As a college student, I definitely agree, like, please take advantage of all of the networking events, definitely networking. Networking is very important. And also I found that when I was applying to a lot of internships, I genuinely think of them as something that are entry level, and it leads up to something bigger. And then I would look at the internship requirements and it would say, you must have experience. And I would be very confused. I'd be like, I need experience. Okay, this is supposed to be my experience. So definitely take advantage. Your college will offer a lot of certifications, a lot of credentials. It's important to research what you would be interested in. And honestly, just try everything. Take part in everything, try everything, find out what you're interested in. And as somebody did mention earlier, be useful with your time, be productive with your time. It's just important to kind of dabble in everything and see what you're interested in and go from there. But definitely networking is really important. And I'd also say take advantage of your professors. They have a lot of connections. Definitely build a relationship with your professors, with your teachers, and take advantage of their resources, because that is a big reason as to why they're there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always say only you limit you. Mm-hmm. So if you don't try and go for it, how do you know if you're going to succeed or not succeed? But it's funny because I was just having this conversation with a group of my friends, and we always say, you know, when you're in the rule of thumb is when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're trying to get to your goals, surround yourself with people who already have reached those goals so that you can pick their minds and, again, network. And sometimes you have to go for those people who are not in your circle to get their point of view and their perspective, because if you don't have that open mind to see it from a different direction, how do you plan to reach your goals? And worry about, after you reach your goals, is worrying about being around people that are like-minded. So definitely surround yourself with people who have already attained what you want to achieve, and pick their brain as much as you can.
Yeah, I want to speak from not only from my personal experience, but what we have to offer at Montgomery College is that the reason I recommend students to start out at Montgomery College first, because we have over 100 programs of study, practically anything you want to do in life. And when I first got to college, really, I was an architecture major, and then I switched to chemistry major, and then I ended up with a business degree. So, you know, really, when you go to college and like at a college, it is a very diverse, you know, environment, and you're going to be exposed to different areas of study, different type of people that you may, you know, look up to, idolize, and then you're going to find yourself, and eventually you're going to find something that you're passionate about, and then you start to shift your focus in that area and hopefully find something that you love to do. But, you know, it's an exploratory stage after high school, because whatever you want to do right now may not be what you ended up doing. So, you know, give yourself some time to explore the things that potentially will be your career in the end.
I want to add real quick. That's a good point, Jimmy, because that's what I did as a young adult. I went to community college first, and my original major was business management. And then that wound up shifting over into law enforcement, because at the time, corporate America, they were doing a lot of layoffs. And I was like, you know what, I need something that's solid and secure. So I changed my major to criminal justice and fell back on it. But one of the things I would love to leave with the young people is watch what you do at this age now on to your young adult years, because those mistakes you make are going to bite you in the tail later on when you decide you want to grow up and mature and decide you want to get into your career field. Because it's so sad. I see it all the time when we have applicants that try to want to be police officers or EMS. I've seen it where you got into trouble, where you got arrested, to doing drugs. So be mindful of the things that you do now, because time flies and you will be a young adult and those things will hurt you later on.
Sean, I was going to say, treat every meeting as an interview, treat every conversation as an opportunity. And even if it's $5 a week, open a tax-deferred annuity when you're young. You will not regret it when you're older.
Yeah. I just want to add real quick, don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to get up from your failure. You know, learn from your mistake, improve, and keep getting better. If I told you how many times I failed, you wouldn't believe me. If I told you how many times I got up, you wouldn't believe me. But I'm here and I'm still working. And they can too. Sorry about that. I'm still learning how to play with this stuff.
Well said. And thank you, all of our panel members, for taking the time to join us today. This is a great opportunity for us to give guidance and remind students of, okay, now you're at that point where you're preparing for graduation and that next stage in life. What is that next chapter? And some great words of wisdom were shared. I think experience is sometimes the best teacher. There's only so much you can learn in a classroom or in a school building before you have to get out and try it and make sense of it. And like Ken said, sometimes you fall down and you got to stand back up and brush yourself off and keep going. You're learning, and sometimes experience is the best teacher. So thank you again, everyone, all of our panel members. Thank you, students, for joining us today. At this point, I'm going to transition back to Alexis.
Hi, thank you so much to our panelists and our presenters today. We are at the end of our live stream broadcast, but we invite our virtual booths. We're going to transition to our virtual booth session. We just had a little technical glitch with the breakout, so we're going to have to recreate those. But for all of you who have been joining us on our YouTube live stream of MCPS TV, we hope that this event was very helpful to you and that you gained a lot. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you again on our MCPS TV channel. Please check out other postings of MCPS, such as our Waymaking series, as well as other public service announcements around counselors and school mental health teams. Again, thank you. And for our attendees that are with us, please hold tight as we get ready to open up the virtual booths.